Good morning, pop culture. We are live. Today is Thursday, October the 25th, 2018. It's 7:54 a.m., and it's time to start Good Morning Pop Culture. So today we're going to be talking about John Williams being hospitalized, which is not a good thing whatsoever. But the reason I was running a few minutes late is because I wanted to listen to a few of the tracks to get me in the right mindset so I could be able to vocalize my appreciation a little better. Because I always acknowledge that John Williams is the greatest film composer of all time. There's no debate about it. There's no questions to be had. You could say, oh, you like Jerry Goldsmith or you like Bernard Herrmann. That's great. They're fabulous composers, but no one is to the caliber of John Williams. On one hand alone, you can, just in a moment, Star Wars, E.T., Indiana Jones, Jaws, Superman. Boom, there you go. Real quick like that, you can name off. And every one of those themes I just said to you, you could hum in your head. So that is the power of John Williams' music. And even though the Star Wars prequels weren't the greatest things in the world, the music was top-notch. Once you get to the Disney stuff where, John isn't really doing everything alone, there's a dip in quality and originality, but that is not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about him and all sorts of other things because it's Good Morning Pop Culture, and that is what we do. We also go on riverboat gambling trips. We make our own beef jerky. If you know the rest, well, then 2008 was a good year for you. But John Williams isn't the only thing we're going to be talking about. Our good friend Melissa McCarthy is back with some bullshit. She cannot let Ghostbusters go. And you know what? Neither will we, because her stupidity must be called out on this morning's show. And then there's a few other things we're going to talk about. So while we wait for our push to 200, good morning to everyone that's here. I'm excited to have another episode of Good Morning Pop Culture to discuss with everyone out there. Remember, folks, November the 5th, 2018, we are going exclusively to our own Good Morning Pop Culture channel. So we had a super chat pop up already from Black Angus Reviews. Thank you very much. What did you think of the Rogue One soundtrack? He only had 6 weeks. Well, the Rogue One soundtrack was Michael Giacchino. So that was somebody completely different. But I thought the Rogue One soundtrack was pretty good. Not as memorable as anything from the George Lucas era, but still decent. Probably the best thing, much like Rogue One itself, it's the best thing to come from the Disney era of Star Wars. Sometimes I would call it the Disney era of Star Wars. But Rogue One, if Rogue One didn't exist, this would truly be a Disney era for Star Wars. But Rogue One's decent. Maybe they're trying to do some callbacks to John Williams' classic score. Maybe they're trying to do a couple other things. But overall, Black Angus Reviews, I wasn't disappointed. So let's see who else we got. Good morning to everyone rolling in. We're almost at 200 viewers. It's like you guys are excited for this show. I like that. By the way, you're going to get a video, the long-awaited part 2 to the Star Wars Hasbro toy video. So if you're wondering what part 1 was, well, you got to check out the video. Part 1 was me discussing some of the insider information I had. Then part 2 is discussing the very, very, very disappointing financials for this quarter. So disappointing that Hasbro is going to be laying off 10% of their workforce. So if you think that our videos over the last year were just anecdotal, well, the numbers don't lie. So be prepared to eat crow. But if you're listening to this show, you're already a fan. But like I say in the video, it doesn't give me any pleasure to watch Star Wars burn, but it does give me pleasure to say, I told you so. So make sure you guys check out part 2. That'll be here. It's done. I just got to upload it after this show. Completely done. Stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning, making sure that son of a bitch rendered. And now you guys are going to get that in just a few short hours. So be prepared for that. And if you're wondering where the replay of this is, well, just go over to our Podbean account. It's free to listen to over there. And it's slightly in better quality. The Pui. Thank you very much, the Pui, and good morning. Morning, Jeff. Great episode yesterday. Thank you, the Pui. I had a lot of fun doing it. It's great when there's something that I'm passionate to talk about. We talked about Indiana Jones and how he's an inherently religious figure and how it doesn't work. Well, a religious character, and it doesn't work in today's setting. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to yesterday's episode, I decided that the Indiana Jones snippet was too good just to leave in the show. So I went ahead and I put it as a separate video. So a few people have seen it. Make sure you guys check it out if you're curious, because instead of trying to do a timestamp and all that shit from the master recording, I just, pulled it out. Boom, there you go. But the Pui, thank you very much. I almost wanted to watch Indiana Jones last night. I was feeling very Last Crusade-like. But before this show, I had Return of the Jedi on, and I'm still feeling Last Crusade-like. Those are the best trilogy ending. Well, are they the best trilogy endings? Last Crusade is the best trilogy ending. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is a fantastic film, though, so I can't knock that at all. I'm just talking about the genre stuff that we talk about. The Back to the Futures, Lord of the Rings, all that stuff. I'm going to go with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. If you agree, disagree, let me know in the comments. Press 1 if you agree, and type in your other one if you disagree. But we are so close to 200 viewers where we can discuss the less than happy news, and then I'll be waiting to hear from you guys about your thoughts on John Williams in general. Like I said, he's the greatest of all time. He's one of those famous composers, one of the celebrities that I have no desire to meet. I had to have nothing to say to the man. If I did meet him, I'd just tell him, thanks, I love your scores. He would say thank you, and that would be the end of it. So it's not like a lifelong desire to meet your hero or anything like that, but it is respect for John Williams. And he's getting old. Let's be honest. John Williams is getting up there in age. It's not like we can expect John Williams to live forever, no matter how much we'd like that to be the case. And I don't expect that. People have their time and they move on. But John Williams will be one of those people whose contributions to the art of film scores will never be topped. And I mean that. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic and praise a guy that's sick, but it's the truth. I mean, even though I don't like Jurassic Park, that theme song kicks ass. I know the Harry Potter music. She did Schindler's List. All that kind of stuff transcends the film. Even if somebody's not a fan of said film, you're going to know the music because it's iconic. I mean, he's the Spielberg, he's the George Lucas, he's the Alfred Hitchcock, he's the Stanley Kubrick of film score. And if something does happen and he passes away, expect a eulogy like no other. That'll be when I think I get a lot of other YouTubers on the channel. I really wish we could have done it for Gary Kurtz, but I hate to admit it, a lot of people didn't really know how important Gary Kurtz was. We've been talking about him for years because Gary Kurtz, Marcia Lucas, there's just more people that made our favorite franchise, well, formerly favorite franchise, good. So many people. But, the narrative that we always shit about on the news, well, the narrative of Star Wars was always George Lucas's master plan, and, he came up with everything and everybody else just backed him up type of deal. And that's not the case. And John Williams is one of those people that definitely elevated George Lucas's work. So 7 more people. While we wait for said 7 more people, let's not forget that today's episode of Good Morning Pop Culture is brought to you by T. Allen Diaz's Lunatic City series. Take a walk on the dark side of the moon with this first installment of this gritty sci-fi noir for just 99 cents. I'll put the link in the chat right now since I forgot to put it in the description. I apologize. I was so excited to talk about John Williams and watch Return of the Jedi's ending that I, kind of forgot. But don't worry. Here it comes in 3, 2, where'd the window go? See, don't you love live radio, folks? Anything's possible. And by anything, I mean, it's going to take a minute. There's going to be a few breaks. So here you go, right there. So lots of love with John Williams. Awesome. I'm glad we can come together to agree on something. Like I said, you can have some of the best discussions, even if you disagree with somebody, but it is nice that we all love John Williams. So we were at 200 viewers and some 2 people clicked away. Shit. See those people, you're making your fellow Good Morning Pop Culture brethren and sister and people kind suffer. One more. There we go. Here we are. So John Williams, sad news today in the world of Star Wars. Legendary movie composer John Williams is currently in the hospital in London, pulling out of a concert with the London Symphony Orchestra set to take place this Friday. A statement from the Royal Albert Hall, where the concert was taking place, notes that Williams is suffering from a last-minute illness. It also indicates that he's receiving care for the sickness at the hospital. Williams' management also issued a statement on the cancellation indicating that he is on the road to recovery, thankfully. John is so sorry that an illness prevents him from conducting Friday's concert, and he's grateful to his friend, Meister Dirk Brass, for taking the podium in his place. He so wishes he could be with everyone and acknowledges that 5,000 of his friends will be joining together to celebrate his music. It is a great comfort to him as he recovers. He wishes everyone a very joyous evening of music. Williams has composed many iconic scores and themes, including Star Wars. We know this stuff. He's working on Episode 9 score. The 86-year-old composer created the music for all of the main Star Wars films and even contributed a theme to Solo, a Star Wars story. Some of his other works include Jaws, Indiana Jones, E.T., Jurassic Park, the first 3 Harry Potter movies, Home Alone, and many, many more. Earlier this year, Williams teased that he would be retiring from the franchise and possibly from film work after finishing the newest trilogy, Star Wars Episode 9, J.J. Abrams' Last Stand. So thankfully, John Williams isn't dying. He is hospitalized, though, and that's concerning. Like I said, he's one of the all-time great. He is the all-time great. I know if you're a Bond fan, you like John Barry, maybe you like Lalo Schifrin from the Mission Impossible series, as well as his other works like Rush Hour. There are other great people out there, but there's nobody better than John Williams. So we all here on the channel wish you a speedy recovery, John Williams. Best of luck, my friend. And one day, I'd love to see John Williams perform all of his famous movie music in person. Well, he wouldn't perform it. He would conduct it in person. So tonight, since we've talked about Star Wars for a moment, surprise, Star Wars on this channel? Ha! Didn't see that coming. No, but tonight we're going to be talking about the film that is worse than The Last Jedi. I haven't told anybody about this yet, so if you're really curious to know what the film that is worse than The Last Jedi is, well, then you're going to need to check out World Class Bullshitters episode 146 tonight here on the channel at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So in 12 hours and 24 minutes, the show will start. And once we get enough people in, we will tell you what the worst film of all time is. And it's even worse than Star Wars The Last Jedi. And I have great news. You guys can watch it because it's on Netflix. It's not some obscure little indie film. It's not some Walmart. Well, it should be in the Walmart bargain bin. This is a franchise film. This is a big deal, and it's terrible beyond belief. All fact, no fiction. Make sure you guys are here tonight to hear that news. So speaking of news, someone that no one likes is back in the news. So I have a very special place in my heart for the Ghostbusters 2016 film, and not in the way you think. See, Ghostbusters 2016 was the first video that we made that actually passed like 50 or 60,000. I'll never forget the excitement of watching the numbers go up and up and up. I was in my mom's boyfriend's backyard getting my car fixed, and I'm just back there, and all of a sudden I keep looking, and the subscriber count goes up by 1 or 2, or it's just exciting because this is at a point where we had only been on for, I don't know, let's see, that would have been July of 2016. We'd only been up since October, so what, 9 months? About 9 months into the channel's life, and we had a big bump, and it gave us tons and tons of stuff to talk about. It was our first little taste of the big time, and so I hold that movie in high regard. No, I don't. It sucks. We watched it for the channel. I got blackout drunk watching it for Patreon. It's fucking terrible. So if you really need to hear that, you know what to do already. By the way, if you're a patron, we put out the It commentary yesterday, so I hope you enjoy that as well. But Melissa McCarthy still stings from Ghostbusters Backlash. I just don't know why people are so afraid of women. Oh my God. So Melissa McCarthy, you can't get over it. It's not about you being women. First off, it's a bad movie. I just don't know why people are so afraid of admitting that a movie's bad or taking the blame. You're not that fucking funny. People like Melissa McCarthy, fine. People didn't like Ghostbusters 2016. It stems from many things. And let me show you this bullshit article from this bullshit website, Yahoo. And we'll go in from there. When Melissa McCarthy signed on for the 2016 reboot of Ghostbusters, she had no idea what kind of ridiculous backlash awaited her. As someone who doesn't use email and avoids social media, the Oscar-nominated actress was unprepared for the virulent opposition to the female-centric film from a certain all-male sector of the internet. Let me stop you right there, writer named Gwen. If it was a small all-male sector on the internet, why did the movie flop? Again, this is just like Star Wars. Star Wars played from the Ghostbusters playbook, and now Ghostbusters has taken a little bit from Star Wars retroactively. If it's such a small minority, then your movie should go on to make $250 bajillion at the box office, and everyone should be quiet because everybody else went to see that movie. But that's not the case. It's so funny how they always want to pass the buck. Oh, well, you know, it was a huge hit. Only a few people disliked it. It was only people on the internet. Yeah, but it's a fucking flop. And Dan Aykroyd himself said Paul Feig is no longer invited on the Sony lot. There's so much more to the Ghostbusters situation, and you guys do need to check out Midnight's Edge because they did the best stuff on that. They did the best work. Midnight's Edge did the best work on that and the Sony email leak. So if you guys need more information, well, check out their video for more because it came out when it was current. 2 years later, she's still baffled by it. Speaking to Yahoo Entertainment while promoting her film, Can You Ever Forgive Me?, McCarthy looked back on the strange campaign to sink Ghostbusters. I just don't know why people are so afraid of women. It's fascinating to me, McCarthy told Yahoo Entertainment. There's one criticism in particular she still can't wrap her head around. If a movie 35 years later is ruining your childhood, don't blame us. You've got your own issues, she joked. Director Paul Feig, I hate that guy, has said that Ghostbusters suffered at the box office in part because of the trolling turned into a cause, creating unnecessary baggage for what was meant to be a fun, goofy summer movie. But while the supernatural comedy didn't make as much money as Sony hoped, it wasn't exactly the flop many outlets reported. Ghostbusters had the biggest opening weekend of any McCarthy film and remains the fourth highest grossing film of her career. That means absolutely nothing. Just because it was her fourth highest grossing movie doesn't mean she's a fucking Harrison Ford or Daniel Craig or Scarlett Johansson or somebody like that. When you have Melissa McCarthy in a multi-billion-dollar film, then come talk to me. Again, this is the type of shit. This is why we have the NPC culture. This is why we have the SJW rhetoric. This is it. This is how it starts. This is where it stems from. You always use these bullshit qualifiers to elevate yourself. Well, did you know that this is the highest viewed episode of Good Morning Pop Culture ever recorded on October 25th, 2018 at about 8:12 in the morning? That means that it's a huge success. No, you're just stating a matter-of-fact thing that doesn't actually elevate this film to be that great. I don't even think it opened at number 1 at the box office. Didn't Ghostbusters open at number 2? And I'll never forget fucking Mundane Matt. Well, I'm going to shit on it, but I'm still going to go watch it because my girlfriend wants to go see it, and it was a fun time. What the fuck, dude? I'm not even going to get into that guy. Were it not for the preposterous effects budget, the film would have easily cleared a profit. The preposterous effects budget. Well, this is Ghostbusters, not Ghost Pointers, Ghost Hunters, all these other stupid fucking things. Ghostbusters is a big thing. Even the original film, 35 years later, next year, that film's effects are fantastic. It's what Ghostbusters is about. The comedy that's actually funny and the effects that are mind-blowing. And in the new version, we have neither. Oh, you're intimidated by the women. No, we're not intimidated by the women. What we're bothered by is the fact that 1, this is unnecessary. 2, you went out of your way to attack a fan base. And 3, the movie was bad. Let's just get over ourselves, Melissa McCarthy and Paul Feig. Paul Feig, what you done lately? Nothing. This Ghostbusters stink is going to be on you forever. Much like Star Wars, but on a smaller scale, Ghostbusters merchandise was clearance before the movie even came out. You can't get rid of the goddamn movies. The toys were at Toys R Us when the toy store died. You can find it for pennies on the dollar for the female Ghostbusters figures. They're not going to become highly sought after collectibles. That's just a thing that people don't want to remember. This is something that if the genie existed from Aladdin, I may wish away. Hell, I may wish away everyone involved in the goddamn movie. And I like Chris Hemsworth too much to wish him away. So you're safe, Thor. But everyone else, goodbye. But no, I mean, we're stuck. with still the excuses. In Hollywood, it's never your own fault. There's always an excuse. There's always an explanation. There's always a reason why you can pass the blame on to someone else. Everyone's got some bullshit to make up for to protect this movie. It's not about ruining childhoods. Ghostbusters 2016 didn't ruin my childhood. Had a great childhood. You know what ruined Ghostbusters? Melissa McCarthy's shit personality, her shit attitude, and Paul Feig's shit directing. Newsbreak, Paul, you're not that good. The best thing you ever did, you were in an episode of you made Freaks and Geeks, but you were in Heavyweights, and I love the movie Heavyweights. So Paul Feig, thank you for being in the film Heavyweights. You existed. Literally anybody could have played your role, but you did a good enough job not to ruin it. And oh my God, we're not going to get into that right now. Fuck this movie. Alpha Terranima, thank you very much for your super chat. I ain't afraid of no girl. Nor am I. Cormoran, thank you very much for your super chat. I'm afraid she'll mistake me for a Twinkie. That's a big Twinkie. Billy Ritchie, thank you very much for your super chat. In response to Kristen Bell, Ethan made a parody called Bro White and the 7 Biatches. Oh my God, I can't stop laughing. Hope it's another comic. Well, Billy Ritchie, I'm going to have to check that one out myself. I saw he posted a video, but I hadn't had a chance to watch it. Like I said, I had to look at Return of the Jedi for a couple of moments to get myself in the mindset to discuss the greatness that is still currently John Williams. But I'll check it out. I always watch Ethan and Jeremy's videos out of support as soon as I have the free time. And today it looks like I'm going to have some free time. I started watching Daredevil as well, and I'll make some more time for that so I can get ready for my video with Razor Fist. Cesario Japan, thank you very much for your generous super chat. Potato Theory. McCarthy was probably excited to sign up, working side by side with the remaining original cast. When the reboot script was being shafted through, McCarthy became a sourpuss. Cesario Japan, that's a possibility. I know that Kristen Wiig from reports, Kristen Wiig was the one that had the biggest problems with this film. I think she's honestly, of the 4 female Ghostbusters, she may be my favorite. She is my favorite. Outside of Ghostbusters, she's done genuinely funny stuff. And people say, well, what about Kate McKinnon? She's a genius. I've watched SNL with her on it, and I haven't fucking laughed yet. When I was over at Phil's the other weekend, he put on the one with Awkwafina, and they were trying to do a rap dance to like the Price is Right theme or the Family Feud. Awkwafina can't act. She just can't. And Kate McKinnon, I'm sure you're great at other stuff, but from what I've seen, just no. But Kristen Wiig is legit. What is that movie she was in where she wins the lottery? Welcome to Me. That was kind of weird, but I really liked it. I didn't know if I was supposed to laugh for the film, and that's, I think, the point. You don't laugh at mental illness. It's an illness. People need help. The character needed help. It was it was a good movie. If you guys haven't had a chance to watch it, it's an indie low-budget movie, so don't expect Ghostbusters levels of effects. But you like it. I think you'll enjoy it. But maybe that is the case with Melissa McCarthy, too. I know in Hollywood, as well as just in general, these people, they do something big, so then they get attached to all this stuff, and they're not always the right fit. I'll go out as far out to say, not only did we not need a female Ghostbusters reboot, we didn't need a Ghostbusters reboot, another Ghostbusters film. Look at Harold Ramis died. The magic was gone. If you want Ghostbusters 3, go play the damn video game. And if you don't have an Xbox, well, then go get yourself on YouTube, which you already are because you're listening to me. And after this show, go watch all the cutscenes from the video game. It is the next Ghostbusters, the final Ghostbusters film. Ghostbusters is one of those properties. Let's just say there's this SJW supervillain, this Grandmaster Queen Mother NPC. The one that is the hive mind for all these, idiots. They all just take their orders from the top. If there's this great supervillain Queen Bee type of thing, they have picked the wrong franchises to screw with. With Star Wars, they are trying it, and it is not working. Believe me, it is not working. It's hurting Star Wars on all fronts. Star Wars has become a second-hand brand. It's a clearance, it's a bargain brand. People aren't buying it. People aren't going to the movies. It's not like just the toys aren't selling. There's a Star Wars box office flop. You see, they're going for these big franchises that are trying to that have so much of a nostalgia to them. You know, people love Ghostbusters. Go to a comic convention, go to a horror convention. If you go to a horror convention, there's like a Ghostbusters fan club here for Ohio. These people dress up in the costumes. They have their proton packs. They even have a car. They go around. They do charity events. They do all kinds of good stuff. I have a picture of me somewhere with some hot lady Ghostbuster. They just do good stuff for the community. And Ghostbusters has been around for so long. So many people grew up with it. There's just this good feeling towards it. They think that they're going to come in, remake it, antagonize the fan base to try to shoo them out, and then get these new people in because they've heard the word Ghostbusters before, and that they're going to come in, throw their money at them, and they're going to virtue signal, make a bunch of money, and be at a certain level. Like I need to tell this Queen Bee thing. You need to start at the bottom. If you need to make this SJW rhetoric NPC entertainment, what you need to do is you need to make your fucking own. Transgressions, microaggressions, this, that, and other. I don't care. I'm not going to see your movie, and neither are other people, because your cause is stupid. You're fighting for something that was completed 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20. Before you existed, before your parents were plowing, the fight that you're taking up was over. You won. Get over it. Again, I hate to reiterate this point because it's kind of testy, kind of spicy, but they're fighting to be the first for something that happened decades ago. Get over yourself. So you can't infuse this shit into Ghostbusters. Oh, I'm sorry. There wasn't a female Ghostbuster in the first movie. Tough shit. The black guy wasn't a doctor. Am I offended? No. Winston was a great guy. He was a great character. Excuse me. I tried to mute my microphone in time for that, but it didn't work. But they tried it with that in Star Wars, and you know what? It's not working. All of these things won't work. You can't sell. Okay, don't try to force traditionally boys' toys on girls. Don't force girls' toys on boys. Don't try to make Ghostbusters a PSA for feminism and science and STEM courses and all that stuff. Don't try to make Star Wars a 2018 reflection or 2017 reflection of politics and practice and nihilism. Don't ruin characters. Don't ruin heroes. These movies they're deeper than you realize, but at the same time, they're not as. Star Wars has a very basic good versus evil structure. Sometimes there's subtle nuances of gray, but at the end of the day, it's Luke versus Vader and the Empire versus the Rebel Alliance. The funny thing is, it's so easy to capture the magic of Star Wars. Many fan films have done it, but the big companies, the big studios have failed miserably. And Ghostbusters failed miserably. If you try to do this with Back to the Future, the backlash will be the same, because Back to the Future is an inherently 80s property. It takes place October 26th. Oh, shit, tomorrow is technically Back to the Future Day. Ooh. But it takes place on October 26th, 1985. It's set in the 80s. Well, it reflects the 80s, whatever. Because it's made in the 80s, it takes place in the 80s. You can't update it. There's no modern-day retelling of Back to the Future. The only thing you could ever do would have been to film in the year 1885 and the year 2015, but they missed the 1885 by, I don't know, 100 years. So that isn't going to happen. But if you tried to do Back to the Future or the Goonies would be the most offensive one. If you want a modern take on the Goonies, go watch Stranger Things. Because if they do the Goonies, well, they're going to make one of the Goonies black. They're going to make one of the Goonies a girl. There's going to be some bullshit about Mikey would be the main girl now. And there'd be sisters. And that's the level of creativity that Hollywood has. It's not about being afraid of women or intimidated by women. We're bored and angered by stupidity. Go make your own shit. You want to make a story about a group of girls going on an adventure? Go make it. Don't call it the Goonies, because it ain't the Goonies. The Goonies is a 1985 film directed by Richard Donner, and it is a great movie. One of my favorites from childhood. And you know what? It still holds up in a lot of ways. I'm still entertained. Actually, I put the Goonies in the video that's coming out later today. So be on the lookout for that small Goonies reference. But these goddamn people, they'll never learn. And they're always going to want to blame this small contingency on the internet. They're going to blame Ethan, Jeremy, and myself for Star Wars failing. They're going to blame YouTubers for making Ghostbusters not be a hit. Well, Melissa, that's not how the world works. If you saw what percentage of people actually were on YouTube commenting compared to the entire population that has the ability to watch your film, it's a smaller percentage, then that could even hurt the film. But you just can't come up, or you can't face the facts that remakes and reboots suck, and gender swapped anything just isn't cool. It never has been. Oh, Ocean's 8 was a huge achievement. Was it, though? It came and went quicker than anyone remembers. Oh, well, we need more films that build up minorities. Well, then go make them. No one's stopping you. Crazy Rich Asians was a huge success. Movies with black people have made tons of money. Black Panther's a billion-dollar franchise. So let's stop acting like Hollywood. You have goodwill to spread. Go back to being the fucking philanderers that you've been. Go make the money and go do your dirty shit. But don't try to be the moral police to us. Because I guarantee you, everyone in this chat, everyone that listens to this show regularly has a much cleaner conscience morally than any person out in Hollywood. We don't know what goes on. We don't really need to know what goes on. As long as no one's assaulted or attacked in that way, go do what you need to do to make your money. If you're going to go be like a Dino De Laurentiis and make schlocky, shitty movies and that you want to make money off of, fine, go do that. I have much more respect for someone whose desires are capitalistic in ideology than ideological, just in terms of your beliefs. I would much rather you go out with the intent to make money instead of the intent to bastardize culture, to ruin society. And that's what this kind of stuff does, because popular culture, when it hits a low point, this point in history looks like a nadir of creativity. It really is a nadir of creativity. The Avengers get this because it's a first. It's something new. Superhero films aren't new, but this crossover shared universe thing is new. And that's why for many it's coming to an end and its expiration date is coming up. It's like that loaf of bread, finish it off quick because, after April, that shit's moldy and gone. We're reaching a point, a stale point, where sadly DC's too late in the game, because I think Shazam looks interesting. Aquaman could be great. And I have a different stance on Wonder Woman. Not blow me away, but impress me. And if Melissa McCarthy's statement of "we're so intimidated by women" was true, well then damn it, Wonder Woman would have been a flop. But Wonder Woman was not a flop. Female-led films have been successful. I bet you one of the highest selling action figures of all time is a woman, Princess Leia. She's in almost all collections of Star Wars. And when they update Luke and Han, they update her. She has more Empire Strikes Back figures in the Black Series than Han. Solo, well, she has the exact same amount. They both have two. There's a Bespin Han and there's a Hoth Han. There's a Bespin Leia and there's a Hoth Leia. She gets the equal treatment. I don't get where these people act like the women characters are treated as second-rate citizens, or they're not as important to the fans. Genre entertainment is the wrong tree to bark up. This is not the case. When you have science fiction properties that have had women in the lead, the command roles, all this other stuff for decades. Was it Captain Janeway from Star Trek? Back then, I just remember, there's a lady captain. Or there was that Cisco guy and he was black. It was nice to live in a time where we didn't have to write fucking think pieces, and think is in quotations, giant hockey puck size quotations, praising the decisions. You know what? A black guy's in charge. Who cares? He's the best for the job. Why can't you get over that? We have as a society. So Ghostbusters, all the things that you want to place blame on, place them on yourself. You're not going to just show up and get praise because the word Ghostbuster is on it. And here's the thing, too. Much like Indiana Jones, much like Han Solo, and Alden Ehrenreich has learned this the hard way, these characters are forever linked with the actors. When you close your eyes and you say Ghostbusters, you either think of Slimer or the logo, because maybe the cartoon. But when you think of movie Ghostbusters, it's Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Ernie Hudson. And to a lesser degree, Rick Moranis. So those films are always barking up the wrong tree. Like I said, with the Back to the Future. Again, you don't want to go there. Marty McFly, Michael J. Fox are one and the same. Emmett Brown, Christopher Lloyd, one and the same. Lorraine, Leah Thompson, Biff, Thomas F. Wilson, Crispin Glover, and Jeffrey Weissman, George McFly. Bet you didn't know there were 2 George McFlys. But when you have these franchises that live on for decades, 30 years, 32 years in the case, it's too late. Something like a James Bond has the benefit of, well, Sean Connery is the best Bond, but by 1969 there was another Bond, and then by 1971 somebody played Bond longer than Connery. So there were different actors, different things, always keeping it fresh and different. There's only been one Luke Skywalker. There's only been one Leia. There should only have been one Han Solo, but when there wasn't the same one, it failed. So that Melissa McCarthy, there are so many reasons why you're wrong. And I have no sympathy for anyone involved with Ghostbusters that was embarrassed, belittled, made to feel bad about themselves. It wasn't because of your gender or your orientation. It's because you picked a bad movie and you picked the wrong team to attack, the fandom. Don't ever fuck with the fandom. That should be a t-shirt. Don't fuck with the fandom. It doesn't even have to be Fandom Menace. It could be Ghostbusters fandom, Star Wars, Bond, wrestling, all this other shit. When you try to infect modern shit, you ruin it and it dies. And people don't want it anymore. Even the old stuff suffers. I bet you we see less Ghostbusters this year than we see in previous years. Only little kids will dress up as Ghostbusters because the kids from Stranger Things did it last year. And Stranger Things, it's weird. It's an homage to all this stuff. It rips off, it parodies, but sometimes it's the most purest form of nostalgia that we can have today. And I like Stranger Things. Don't love it. I like it. And I'm glad it exists. And I just hope season 3 can continue on the trend that I like. And I don't think season 2 suffers because of a new girl. What's her name? Max? She was a fine character. That seems to be the case in a lot of, growing up. You hang out with your friends, a girl gets involved, somebody likes her. That's how life is. It's just basic biology. And Stranger Things doesn't try to mirror it to be something else. Oh, she's a tomboy with a rough background. I've known people like that. So, wow, okay, we had a lot of super chats rolling after that one. So thank you to everybody. Let's see. Eddie Max Vandor says, worst movie, The Crow, Wicked Prayer, Edward Furlong. No, I guarantee you it's not. This movie is worse than The Crow, Wicked Prayer with Edward Furlong, because I know that film. There's a couple episodes of After Hours, World Class Bullshitters After Hours on Patreon where I constantly talk about that movie and how obsessively stupid it is with David Boreanaz. Believe me, Eddie Max Vandor, the film we're going to talk about tonight is worse, and you're going to watch it, and you're going to go, what the fuck am I watching? I've never stood there with my mouth open watching a film out of, like, absolute terror, and I wasn't scared. Dayton Pfeiffer, thank you very, very much. The reason why Ghostbusters 2016 sucks is because the jokes weren't funny. Are you telling me that queef jokes aren't funny? Sexist. Now, Dayton, I'm with you, man. I'm with you all the way to the end of the line. It just wasn't funny. I remember watching it, and the guy was in the house running around. I'm like, okay, this is trying to be like the lady in the first movie with the library. And then, it's a Cadillac and shit like that. And I'm like, wow. Say what you want about Winston not being a doctor. He is not a stereotype in Ghostbusters. The best line he may have is, I've seen shit that'll make you turn white. And, just stuff like that. Ernie Hudson was a good actor, is still a good actor, and a great Ghostbuster. And he takes pride in the role. Dan Aykroyd still does too. Maybe Bill Murray, not so much. He's like a Harrison Ford. He's too cool for school, and that's why I think people are attracted to him, because he's got that personality, that attitude. Oh, he's the aloof, cool guy. Oh, I want to be friends with him. But he doesn't want to be friends with you, but you'll still chase after it, and he'll just kind of, whatever. But no, they turned the black Ghostbuster into a stereotype. Ernie Hudson didn't say stupid slang and shit like that. He's like, if there's a paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you want. And then at the end, Ernie Hudson gets the last line of the movie. I love this town. Ghostbusters is a super pro New York film, much like Spider-Man in 2002. And I don't know. We're not all New Yorkers, but I think when we watch that movie, we all are New Yorkers for that, 90 minutes, 2 hours, much like Spider-Man. We're all there with them. We're cheering on the Ghostbusters. Ibrahim says, I love this channel, LOL. Thank you very much, Ibrahim. I appreciate the nice compliment. We love you right back, man. American Trend 007. Oh, this guy. Huh. SJWs latch onto pre-existing franchises because their rhetoric will not make any money in a new brand, as it's hated. Only nostalgia can fool fans. Well, Trent, you and I talk daily. Nostalgia, that the expiration date on nostalgia has pretty much passed. Star Wars is now embarrassing, and these other nostalgic things are kind of embarrassing too. Ready Player One, I liked. I don't think Ready Player One did nostalgia wrong, but you can't really go too crazy beyond Ready Player One. The nostalgia crowd, the shit that they're people are nostalgic for from the 80s, well, we're kind of reaching a point where we've exhausted all that stuff. And now we're going to move into 90s nostalgia where political correctness was kind of running rampant. So are they going to try to politically correct political correctness? That doesn't work. So I think we're at that point where they're trying to latch onto the nostalgia, make it SJW, and something us is going to come in, create something new, and then we're going to the entertainment landscape will switch for the better for everyone involved. It's not about control with us or me personally. I just want to watch something that I can enjoy and not have to be told, oh, you're a piece of shit for liking boobs in a movie. Sorry, person on the news. I like them. Or if some woman wants to see a buff dude, go watch Thor, enjoy the shirtless scene, but don't shit on me for liking the bikini scene in Into Darkness or something like that. Let people be people. Don't try to police people's thoughts and desires. It's stupid. When movies were made and they were they hit you on a primal level, that basic good versus evil. You watch your hero get blown apart like in RoboCop, and it makes the ending that much more satisfying. Why go up against that? Those movies stand the test of time for so many reasons. Not because you were just a kid, but because they spoke to you as a kid and they can speak to you as an adult. A lot of these crazy SJW NPC people that I'm going to keep using those 6 letters to describe, they grow out of this phase. They either get older and get married, or they realize, well, I guess I'm just going to raise my cats in solitude. But then they stay off the internet, or they mellow out. The hippies mellowed out. All these people mellow out. So there's really not any money to be made in this culture. This outrage culture isn't financially viable. The news can try to make money off of it, but the news ain't making shit elsewhere. Like there was that bomb scare at CNN. Ooh, whatever. Couldn't have happened to a nicer group of people. Thankfully, no one was hurt. So that's why I don't feel guilty making a joke or making light of the situation. But Trent, I'm with you, dude. You know that. We talk about nostalgia stuff all the time. Observer Dude, thank you very much. Welcome back again. Do you think if Ghostbusters 3 had been made, not counting the game, it would have been a success or a flop? Well, Observer Dude, had Ghostbusters 3 been made when all 4 Ghostbusters were alive and healthy, I think it would have been a massive success. So let's see, 1989 was Ghostbusters 2. If you would have pumped out Ghostbusters 3 in, I don't know, 98, 99, 10 years since the last one, or you do it in, I don't know, 05, right? When Spider-Man had been out, we had Batman, when genre stuff, superhero movies, all that stuff. You can use the term superhero very loosely to describe the Ghostbusters. People have said James Bond is like a British superhero to them. Like Timothy Dalton says, he's a man, not a Superman. That's a terrible Timothy Dalton impression. But still, my point is, you could have used that, and during that climate when you had Superman coming back and Batman was back, Ghostbusters should have come back. 2005 could have been 06 could have been the perfect year, I think, for Ghostbusters 3. And I think it would have been a success because Bill Murray is still funny. Dan Aykroyd's still funny. Ernie Hudson is still a good actor. And Harold Ramis, still funny. I think he's the unsung hero of a lot of this because he's directed, he's written, he's done a lot of stuff behind the camera that people don't think about. He directed the first National Lampoon's film, Vacation, the best one. That's his work. Listen to the commentary. He talks about the film. But yes, if all 4 of them would have been involved with Sigourney Weaver, you don't really need Sigourney Weaver. Well, you do. She's really important to the story. That could have been the film to bring Rick Moranis out of retirement. It could have done all kinds of great stuff. And the effects in 2005 were there to do CGI ghosts properly. So I think it would have been a huge success, Observer Dude. It would have been a welcome home type of thing. But it was too late once Harold Ramis passed away, and they tried to, oh, we're going to honor him by making him the dean of the college and putting a bust in his honor in this room. No, that's nothing. Respect his legacy by not fucking up one of his greatest contributions, Ghostbusters. Cesario Japan, thank you very much, my friend. Don't forget the cartoon Extreme Ghostbusters and the IDW comic. All fandom approved in existing. Ironic, Extreme Ghostbusters and the IDW comics had a better use of people of color, females, and disabled folks. Yep, I did forget those things. I know they exist. Much like I've actually picked up some of the IDW Ghostbusters comics from, was there a line in 08, 09, something like that? I know I've read them. IDW has some good properties. I'm surprised they don't do more with them. Oh, well, that's a topic for another day. But yeah, I think the people that are involved with these failures need to understand it's not about women, it's not about minorities, it's not about disabled or trans people or any of this stuff, gay, straight. The viewing audience is accepting of all that stuff. You got to make them good characters. You don't get a pass on intention. Oh, well, the thing is, remember when you're a kid and people would say, well, you get an A for effort, but an F for execution. Well, these people don't even get an A for effort because they don't put much effort in. They take a pre-existing thing. You get like a D plus for effort. No, D minus. Fuck you, an F. You get an F for effort and an F for execution in the case of this movie. Just stop pushing it on. Don't make minorities, people of color, gay people, disabled people, don't make them your shield. That makes you the bad person. Own up to your mistakes. Everyone that listens right now has had a failure, has made a mistake. It's probably your own fault. It is your own fault. I've made mistakes. I've allowed certain things to happen in my life. It's my own fault, but I've changed them and life's gotten a lot better. So Melissa McCarthy and Paul Feig can't hide behind these things anymore. Melissa, you can't hide behind, well, guys are intimidated by women. No, we're not. We're not intimidated by women. If all men were intimidated by all women, the human race would just die out. That's not how society, that's not how biology, physiology, any of these things work. This is you. Let's use their phrase or their words. This is you, a privileged white person, talking down to minorities and people of color and all this other shit. You're full of yourself, Melissa McCarthy. I don't like you. You're not funny. Even before Ghostbusters, I never had a kind word to say about her. She's not that good. I don't like Bridesmaids. I know some people go, oh, it's the movie I like. I watched it with my friend Shira. Her and I rented it. We laid on our floor and watched it. We did not enjoy it whatsoever. Swinging Cod, thank you very much. SJW/NPC logic always makes me want to quote Brody from Mallrats. The line about the pulse to them. P.S. Captain Marvel is going to be a poop show. Oh, do you mean the Brody line from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back? This is your finger, and this is the pulse. Far from the pulse, jammed straight up your ass. Say, would you like a chocolate-covered pretzel? There was a time where Kevin Smith was my favorite. The Clerks cartoon and all the fucking View Askew universe stuff I bought says that, proves that. That is why I have no shame making the shill video about him and all that other stuff. But at the same time, I don't want to see him sick or die or go down a path of anything but success. Hell, I saw that he has these Silent Bob plus-size men's shirts, and I considered picking up one, not because I really need a plus-size men's t-shirt, but because Silent Bob is cool. I like Jay and Silent Bob, and I do have some creative respect for the man, but he's fallen off. Let's see. Mark C., thank you very much for your very generous super chat. Dude, still a bit upset that High Council kind of became a house show promoting your pay-per-view/morning show. I love and support both, but it made the High Council a bit weak this past week. My pay-per-view morning show, what did I not promote? What pay-per-view do I have coming up? Oh, you mean the podcast? Oh, well, you don't have to pay to watch the podcast. This is free. It's on YouTube. So I don't know what you're talking about, Mark. Because I wouldn't tell you guys the film that is worse than The Last Jedi. Well, complain to every TV channel ever that has said, find out next week. You know what? If I'm to apologize, then you can never watch Dragon Ball Z again. Because remember, you're watching the Namek Saga, and Goku is charging up and the planet is about to explode. Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. That's all it was. It was a find out next time on Dragon Ball Z situation. Sorry you didn't enjoy it. Thousands of other people did enjoy the show. So, that episode wasn't for you. My favorite TV show is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. There are now episodes I dislike of the show. It's still my favorite show, and the show is still very good. So, this one wasn't for you, man, but a lot of other people, over 1,100 people, had a good time. So, there you go. Alpha Terranima says, we're like the bridge people in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. We are. That moment, I don't know if it was filmed post 9/11. I don't know. But that definitely is one of those, no pun intended, those bridging the gap moments between all of fandom. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us type of thing. And if you stand up to, the people that produce this entertainment in that fashion, well, then you find other people in the community that you bond with, you make new friends, and you don't have to come together over a hatred of something. Believe me, my friendship with Dion and the other guys honestly started over a love of wrestling and how good it used to be. And then we found out we had other common interests. And, as wrestling fell by the wayside, we moved on to other things that we just so happened to be interested in as a group, as a community. So there we are. Astaroth, thank you very much. Isn't that the guy from Soul Calibur? A big dude with the hammer. Anyway, step 1, load your celebrity NPC. Step 2, dial your coordinates. Step 3, initiate the system. If the light is green, the treb is clean. I love that so much. I need somebody to help us green screen ourselves into that Ghostbusters scene. I guess Ethan would be Dan Aykroyd. I always thought of myself as the Dan Aykroyd, but that's fine. Jeremy's got to be Harold Ramis. Ethan really would be the Bill Murray of all of this, which is fine. I like Dan Aykroyd. I take pleasure in being the Dan Aykroyd. Let's see. Dark Tiberius says, "Hail, Big Muff Daddy. I love a big bowl of world-class bullshitters force-fed to me every morning. I really enjoy this channel. I'm excited for what's coming next," says Darth Tiberius. Well, Darth Tiberius, thank you. I'm glad you're here. And what's coming next is another video in a few short hours, 2 hours and 30 minutes roughly, whenever YouTube uploads it. I've noticed one thing, and that is YouTube's been acting up. A lot of my favorite YouTubers aren't getting a lot of views. Maybe they've turned the dial down on what they're allowed to pay out something. But YouTube is, for as much as it seems to grow, other YouTubers that I watch that have bigger followings than I do, their view count they're just shit right now. So I guess there's more at play than we realize. And I guess maybe they're influenced by big TV companies. That's why ABC gets the front page and all of this stuff. It's just because of YouTube's doing, and I don't like that. If you're going to succeed or fail on your own, rise up, rise above all this crap. Don't really, try to change the way the game is played over that crap. Let's see. So we had talked about Melissa McCarthy. I think that was a good point. I almost feel like, I blew my load. Let's just end it right there. That was a pretty good, a great segment. It's funny how all of these are the biggest problems in entertainment, and they keep going for the same thing over and over again. I don't know what is the case. What is the thought process behind all of this? You would think they want to make the money. Like I told you a while ago, like within the last 45 minutes, money is more noble than half the ideological bullshit they push on us. And I don't know. I really want to know what you guys think. They try to say the money is the root of all evil, the root of all that kills. No, not particularly. Stupidity has killed just as many people, if not more. So let's not act like all of a sudden making a movie to be a success is a bad thing. Marvel has kept itself clean for the most part. And it's funny how when we make these videos talking about how, they've ruined Star Wars, they've done this, they've done that, people are like, well, Marvel's next. You think Marvel would know? Disney and Lucasfilm know what we say. You would think that Marvel would know and not go down that path, but it's like they're being forced down that path. Like there's a Darth Sidious behind everything, controlling it from the shadows, from the darkness. And what is gained? It's not like this generation's buying into this crap. This isn't a they live scenario It's like most people have the sunglasses on, but most people don't know why they don't like it, but they don't like it and they don't go see it and they don't support it. And that's is this going to be the downfall of Western entertainment? Some people say it already is. I know a lot of our listeners are like, I only read manga instead of American comic books, or I only watch anime instead of American or other Western cartoons. I only do this. I only watch films from here and there. That is fine. As time progresses, international films have always had a presence in my life. It's not like, oh, I'd never saw a foreign film growing up. They were everywhere. Isn't technically Leon the Professional? Isn't Luc Besson? He's French. Isn't it mostly a French production? I know a lot of the people involved were Bond films are mostly filmed abroad, stuff like that. There are other ones. I saw, The Crying Game was just weird. I've seen foreign film, lots of them. You see them, they're a thing. But now you're going to have the American market shrink even more because look at China. China does not like the Western ideologies put in their movies. Was it Baizu or Baisal or however you pronounce it? They have a phrase for it. Was it American left or white left or whatever they call it? Their movies are going to start to get to here because people are going to like, I like to go to the movies. It's fun to go out and do stuff, but I don't want to be taught a fucking moralistic lesson and next week at the theater. No, I want to go and have a good time. And well, this crazy Hong Kong action flick with guns and martial arts looks cool and fun. Maybe they dub it, maybe it's subtitled, but I don't have to be told how men are evil and dear white people, this is what you need to do. That shit doesn't fly around the rest of the world. And all the US is doing is shrinking its film division. You can run to Atlanta to film shows to save money. You can go to Detroit, Canada, all these things to get your tax breaks and make up in your back end. But if you're going to ruin the movies for everybody, well, people are just going to stop watching your shit overall. What is that, A24 that people refuse to watch because it's too political? All their movies are kind of left-leaning. That is the bed you people make for yourselves, and you have to lie in it. And when people don't want to join you, be your bedfellow. Don't get angry and don't start throwing the blame around because you'll get a Ghostbusters situation, and it's not good. So I found out something interesting real quick. I didn't know this until right now, so I hope you guys are just as excited or interested as I am. So press 1 right now if you know who Alan Tudyk is, and press 2 if you don't. Press 3 if you know and you love him, because Alan Tudyk is incredible. Nick says he loves that man. I'm a fan of Tucker and Dale versus Evil, Steve the Pirate, all kinds of stuff. But if you know who Alan Tudyk is, let me know. And if you don't, here's a refresher. Here's his face, because Alan Tudyk is going to voice the Joker in DC's Harley Quinn animated series. Now, I know, like you guys, no one will ever top Mark Hamill, and that's fine. The Mark Hamill himself is the sacred Hamill. Best Joker voice, better than Cesar Romero's voice, better than anybody's voice. If you could record Mark Hamill's Joker voice into a computer and just reuse it constantly with, better inflection, well, not better than the real man, but, believable inflection, I would be happy. But Alan Tudyk doing the voice is interesting to me because he's the voice of K2SO, for those who don't know. I've never seen an Alan Tudyk performance that I dislike. I mean, shit. I actually felt bad for the robot in Rogue One more than I felt bad for some of the other characters that died. No emotion for Bodhi Rook or what's his name, Captain Cassian Andor or Jyn Erso. Those 3 people don't care that they died. I gave a shit about K2SO being shot over the control panel. Chirrut and Baze, really good characters that went, the way of the dodo. They're just gone. Quick side note about Chirrut and Baze. Somebody was commenting on my video how they had to import some of those Chirrut and Baze figures that I found at clearance. They had to import them from another country because they wanted them so bad and they couldn't get those action figures. So that's just funny how the world works. So Alan Tudyk is reportedly voicing the Joker in DC Universe's upcoming animated Harley Quinn TV show. Not much is known regarding the series' narrative as of yet, but it'll be part of the original programming of the budding streaming platform. It is expected to tackle Harley's adventures as she tries to earn her spot in DC's premier supervillain group, Legion of Doom. I don't like that concept. Do you guys like that concept? That sounds kind of dumb. I don't want to... I don't like it at all. Sorry. She's going to join the Legion of Doom. I think we've reached Harley Quinn critical mass. She's just everywhere, but she doesn't have the same effect. I think I got tired of Harley Quinn in 2009 in the video game. She was great before that, and now I'm just kind of, go away. If you're not voiced by Arlene Sorkin, I just don't want to hear it. So Kaylee Coco's the voice. Lake Bell is Dr. Pamela Isley, a.k.a. Poison Ivy. Raul Coley is Jonathan Crane as Scarecrow. Diedrich Bader is Batman. Oh, that's kind of cool. So he's from Batman the Brave and the Bold. I wonder if the animation style is going to match that. I know a lot of people don't like more simplistic, child-friendly animation, but I thought Brave and the Bold was one of the better-looking shows that DC has put out in many years. Better looking than Green Lantern. Not as good looking as Young Justice. Apparently nothing's been as good as Young Justice, save for Batman the Animated Series and Justice League and Teen Titans. But I like Diedrich Bader as Batman. I like Diedrich Bader in general. That's a celebrity I'd like to have as a friend. He's got crazy stories and he's pretty funny. Even though the Beverly Hillbillies movie ain't that good. Let's see. We had a bunch more super chats roll in. So Billy Ritchie, thank you very much. Got Harrison Ford, Jeff up in my attic. You want him back? You take him. He eats too much. Comanche Viper, thank you. Dan Aykroyd is to blame for Ghostbusters 2016. Sure. Blame everybody involved. Ivan Reitman kind of got screwed, though. The guy that directed the first two films, he kind of got strong-armed into that stuff. Like I said, guys, go back and watch all the Midnight's Edge content. It's very, very well-produced. It's the best thing they ever did, that and the Sony email hack. Dalton Burchett, thank you very much. Please check out my favorite show, Letterkenny. Would love to hear what you think of it. Plus, I'm pumped to read Stealing Solo. Well, let me take a screenshot of your super chat, Dalton Burchett, and I will gladly check out your show. Let's see. Letterkenny. There we go. So, Dalton, I'll check it out. Remind me. I'll see if I can watch something this afternoon. I can't promise that it'll be this afternoon, but I will try to make some time for it before the weekend, and I'll let you guys know what I think. And I'm glad you're pumped to read Stealing Solo. I don't know if I told you guys this, but Nick hadn't known any of the plot twists or any of the stuff. So on Saturday, when we were drinking before the party, I told them the whole story. I laid it out for them, and they laughed the entire time. So it made me feel good that people were cracking up. It's a fun, funny story. And when the movie gets made, it'll be a fun, funny movie. It's not a Star Wars film. It never was going to be a Star Wars film. It's its own animal, and you'll love it. Observer Dude, thank you very much. What if in Ghostbusters 3, Venkman, Ray, and Egon were ghosts through the entire movie and Winston had to train new, younger Ghostbusters? Observer Dude, if they did that, I would only be okay with it if they died in funny ways. Like if Egon actually drilled the hole in his head, or if Venkman, I don't know, got punched out of a window, like in that episode of the Twilight. Maybe if Venkman was a ghost, it would be funny, but I don't think Ray should have died. And the Ray stance was the Ghostbusters Ghostbuster. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the scene where they're coming out of the bank, and he's like, "You didn't even bargain with them." And he talks about the interest payment will be $96,000. See, that is the sign of a great comedy. I'm just thinking about a quick line of dialogue, and I'm cracking up. There are tons of other comedies that I've seen, that films that say they're comedies that just don't hit the same way that Ghostbusters has. Ghostbusters was part of popular culture. And no matter how good Ghostbusters was, Beverly Hills Cop still made more money. Boom, I love to say that. I love to say that. But in reality, those four guys, and I'll include Ernie Hudson, just created magic. Like John Williams created audio magic for those movies. There's something special about that. That compared or added with the theme and all that stuff. That is just one of those perfect films. And the 80s had so many of those. It's not because of nostalgia, folks, the NPC SJW culture. It's because you had creative people with something to prove. They wanted to raise their status in life, or they just wanted to tell a good story or be the best they can. Alan Silvestri did, I believe, two things in 1985. The first one was some unmemorable, shitty soundtrack, and the second was Back to the Future, which took him to the top. The dude does the Avengers. No bigger franchise exists right now. So I think that's why Comicsgate works. That's why other things on YouTube work, because they're a group of people who are creative, who want to do more, who want to change their status in life. And they're not driven by anything but the art or maybe finances. And that's fine. As long as they're producing an excellent quality product, it doesn't matter. Their things will rise to the top. Let's see. Black Angus Review says NPC Star Wars got me into Star Trek and Criterion Collection. Ooh, so the Criterion Collection. Go check out the movie with Emilio Estevez, the Repo Man movie, Repo Men. Check that one out. The weird flying green car. Tell me what you think. That's in the Criterion Collection, I believe. Hulu had the Criterion Collection for quite a while, and I remember watching some of their films. And I mean, obviously, not everything's going to be great, but I liked what I saw. Nathan Brake, thank you very much for your very generous super chat. We are the NPC. Lower your expectations and surrender your nostalgia. We will add your cultural and societal achievements to our narrative of oppression. Your cultural will adapt to serve us. Oh my God, guys. Well, we've been hacked. We've been infiltrated by NPCs. Beep, boop. They're taken over. Beep, boop. Assimilate. The Borg. We are the Porg. Too bad Porgs are a real thing, because I'd call NPCs the Porg. Just a shitty version of the Borg. The Shorg. That's dumb. But I'm entertained by it. So there we go. That's what matters the most. But your points, though they're framed in a comical manner, that really is what they do. And listen to how many people fight back to this stuff. Seriously, it's not like an Invasion of the Body Snatchers or a Halloween 3 thing where it's like nobody knows the sinister plot of Silver Shamrock. People know what's going on, and people are fighting back, fighting around the world. And if there is an us versus them, the non-NPC culture is going to win. Why do I say it with such certainty? Well, first off, the NPC crowd will probably die out with that generation. So, after that, what are they going to carry on to? Plus, kids they gravitate towards stuff they like. Dion, his kid, gravitated towards Ninja Turtles organically. And it's not necessarily just the new ugly one. They do watch that show, but they have costumes and toys based on the other Ninja Turtles too. And that's a property that came out 1984 in print and 1987 on TV. And the movies came out and all that stuff. So the evergreen properties are the evergreen properties for a reason. I can't believe I'm living in a world where I'm saying the Star Wars isn't the evergreen property. Yesterday when I was working on the video that comes out at 11-ish today, I kept thinking to myself, man, this thing has been out for so long, and I never got tired of it until now. And it just took me a moment. I took about a 2 or 3 minute break to think, what changed? Is it me? Is it it? And it really is it. Thankfully, I'm surrounded by self-aware people that know what's going on. So, Nathan, I know you're joking, but the NPC culture cannot win. They can bitch, whine, and moan all they want. They can go and they can complain on Twitter and they can do this, but you will see that this kind of stuff is a passing fad. This outrage culture is a passing fad. They promote it on TV because, oh, well, we need a reason to fucking watch CNN or MSNBC or any news outlet, Fox News, anything. I'm not trying to pick a side, but they will go for the outrage culture because it gives them a reason, or gives people a reason to watch them. Well, they agree with me. I'm going to watch this. I'll keep my cable package because this group makes me feel accepted. And then YouTube, you're getting this shit for free. And it's kind of making the people that pay all this money look bad. That's really what it boils down to at the end of all this, is the money. And free content reaches people on a deeper, more primal level than, this paid for content. Well, so-and-so Turner's funneling millions of dollars into this property. Well, I'm reaching just as many people with an internet connection, a $200 microphone, and a couple $100 computer setup. What the hell? That is why YouTube is turning down some of the stuff, I believe. And that is why the mainstream media keeps going on with the outrage culture, because people will watch them for something. You lie through your teeth about other shit, but, outrage culture, I guess, gets the views. But in reality, the best entertainment isn't coming out of the mainstream. The Big Bang Theory is like the biggest show on TV. It's the dumbest show of the decade, of the century, of the millennium. It's only been 18 years, but it's the worst of the worst. All these big things that people want to go on, oh, these are so successful. This is watched by millions and millions of people. Yeah, but millions and millions of people also watch other stuff. Think of the other millions of people. Now, the internet has been great. It's been terrible. It's been powerful, and it's weakened, a lot of the people up at the top, and they're afraid, they're concerned, and they can only buy so much goodwill for so long. Jimmy Kimmel can enjoy his #1 spot on the front landing page of YouTube, but how many people go, I'm going to click on my subscriptions to see what's next? And that's why YouTube takes away your ability to track your subscriptions, because we're giving you this good shit, and they're afraid. They don't like it. Let's see. Dalton Burchett says, I believe the first 2 seasons are on Hulu. Okay. I'll check that out. I have Hulu. Hulu is my favorite streaming service currently. I'm going to watch the Goldbergs, and Freddy Krueger was on there last night. Freddy Krueger, I don't talk about, certain things scared me as a kid. I wasn't one of these like super brave kids. I saw Michael Myers. It freaked me out. I saw that Jason movie. It freaked me out because I went to Gatlinburg that weekend and stayed in a cabin, and I was afraid for a little bit to go outside at night. But Freddy Krueger stuck with me for years because it was on a whole nother level. And as an adult, I love the movies. I watched them. I watched them with my grandma a couple of years back when I had to, I don't want to say babysit because I don't want to belittle my grandma. But we house sat for my uncle and his family when they were away on vacation, and my grandma stayed behind. So we stayed with her to take care of her and to, cook for her and do stuff like that. But her and I watched all those movies, and she's like, good Lord, what is this? She didn't find it scary. She found it to be trashy. And it was kind of funny to see it from that point of view. But Freddy Krueger freaked me out, and that's why I'm pumped for the Goldbergs episode, because Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund is coming back to play Freddy Krueger one more time. Well, it'll probably be more than just this one time because, Halloween made a bunch of money, so Robert Englund can be convinced to come back and play Freddy one more time if the price is right. That's the greatest statement of all time. If the price is right, anything is possible. Billy Ritchie says, damn it, Jeff, he broke out. Well, I doubt Harrison would come back to the basement. It'd be like Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm, Sweden? Or no, was it Helsinki? From Die Hard, Helsinki, Sweden, Finland, or whatever the guy says. Harvey Johnson, the shittiest news reporter of all time. If he comes back here, it'll be like, what is that, Chris Farley and Wayne's World 2. What are you doing here? It's because I got no place else to go. That's the story. Harrison Ford is shell-shocked to stand with us at all times. Well, I feel like we've accomplished our mission with him. So go off and fly your planes and do whatever you got to do, my friend. Go live life with your family. Leave us alone. Kendo's tired of helping you use the bathroom. But, this show's been kind of on fire this morning. Just give me a quick moment. My coffee apparatus clogged just as I was going for another cup. It goes, oh, there is a clog. So I have to pull out the maintenance K-cup. Now, our friend Grand Inquisitor sent me the coffee gift card for my birthday, which I'm going to redeem soon. I'm trying to decide if I want to change my coffee setup, but I work in my office upstairs where this coffee setup remains. So maybe for convenience, I'll stick with K-cups for a while. And I'm surprised how many people are listening to me talk about K-cups right now. If you're a coffee drinker, let me know what your preferred brand, your preferred blend is. I actually read a stupid article about Starbucks coffee. Yeah, I know, right? Sometimes you get really bored working on shit. Sometimes anything is a welcomed break from what you have to do. And surprisingly, a Starbucks ad was a nice what I had to do. All right, so is it going to work? Is it going to work? It's working. It's working. That's a Star Wars Episode 1 video game reference that no one would have got had I not explained it to you guys. So yay for Alan Tudyk. Love the guy to death. Great talent. Thank you, Alan Tudyk, for being as awesome as you are. So let's see what else people are saying to me this morning. Like I said, it's a community show. Love it. Love it. Hold on. Okay, cool. So this other chat is really behind. So I got one chat window open and another chat window open, and they are not in sync. So, folks, this morning, I also, what I wanted to tell you guys. Besides Return to the Jedi thing, I actually had a revelation or a realization Return to the Jedi, and you'll laugh. It's funny, you watch a movie so many times and you don't think of certain things, and then you watch it again, you're like, oh, duh, that's what that is. So I always thought there was a random vine on Jabba the Hutt sail barge that Luke and Leia swung from. Here it was one of the ropes that tied the roof on. You see how dumb that sounds? But in my mind, I'm like, what are they swinging on? And I finally, I finally know. Ooh, Red Dead Redemption 2's out. Maybe I'm gonna stop the show right now and go buy a copy. Let's see what people are saying about Red Dead Redemption. I know there's a small contingency of gamers on this channel, and that's fine. You guys get we may not be geeks and gamers, but you guys will get your moment in the sun, and your moment in the sun is right now. So let's real quick for a moment. Let's look at these Red Dead Redemption scores because I'm excited. So the game looks awesome. It's a Rockstar game, so I'm already impressed because I've never take it back. I was let down by GTA 4. It was not that good of a game. They get an A for effort, a D for execution. Nico, it's your cousin Roman. I don't give a shit, man. I don't want to go bowling with you or Brucey or any of that other shit. So Red Dead Redemption 2 is sitting at IGN gave it a 10 out of 10. It stands shoulder to shoulder with Grand Theft Auto 5 as one of the greatest games of the modern age. It's a gorgeous depiction of an ugly period that's patient, polished, and a huge amount of fun to play. And it's combined with Rockstar's best storytelling to date. Even after finishing the lengthy story, I can't wait to go back and play more. This is a game of rare quality and meticulously polished open world ode to the outlaw era. Ooh, that's a good summary. That sold me. To be fair, I was already sold, but that sold me even further. Like I'm thinking, my PlayStation is not hooked up. I should go buy this. Callie Plague says, while Red Dead Redemption was mostly focused on John Marston's story, Red Dead is about the entire Vanderleer gang as a community, as an idea. And this is the death rattle of the Wild West. It's about Arthur too, but as the lens through which you're viewing the gang, his very personal, very messy story supports a larger tale. Some frustrating systems and predictable mission structure end up serving the story well, though, and it does patience to get through them and understand why Red Dead Redemption 2 is an excellent prequel, but it's also an emotional, thought-provoking story of its own right, and that is hard to leave. And that world is hard to leave when it's done. Okay. The Telegraph gave it a 5 out of 5. I hate Kotaku, so you can go fuck yourself. Guardian gave it a 5 out of 5. Destructoid a 9.5 out of 10. So it's looking pretty damn good. It comes out tomorrow, so I don't have to cancel the show and go get it. I have plans tomorrow. Surprisingly, folks, I have plans that are better than Red Dead Redemption 2. Well, is it called Red Dead Redemption 2, right? Yeah. But it's a prequel, but it's number 2. So it's like Temple of Doom. So it means it's going to be awesome, right? That'd be pretty cool. Grand Inquisitor, thank you very much. I'm enjoying BRCC's Beyond Black while working and lurking. I like their CAF blend too. I still say you should explore the joys of good coffee press. Down the road, I will. I just, right now, to try to do a coffee press into all this stuff as I record, I love the convenience of the Keurig. I think that's why I use it as much as I do, for the convenience factor. Open a thing, put it in, press a button. There's a cup of decent coffee in front of you. But I'm probably going to use that to get some of those K-Cups. I'll review it for you once I just make my final decision. Again, thank you very much. It was very, very thoughtful. You know, somebody sent me a birthday gift because they like the show I do. I appreciate that. That was a good feeling. Brandon Moist, this guy again. NPCs are actually interactive in R2. Oh, Red Dead Redemption 2. Sorry, I keep thinking of R2D2. NPCs are actually interactive. Yeah, you know what's funny is the NPCs in a Grand Theft Auto game have more to say. I used to love running up to those people and they go, "What the hell?" and all that shit like that. Those games were fun, and if this game is fun, I'm into it. I do find it funny how some people, certain reviewers, look at a game and they're like, "Well, the lens of the story and this, that, and the other." That's cool, but it's supposed to be a fun game, and it sounds like it's a fun game. And you know, maybe I need a Twitch channel right away. And I got stuff to do. Oh, so does anyone have anything they'd like me to? Well, hold on. We just had one pop up. Observer dude, are you looking forward to Transgenderminator? How is that said? Transgenderminator 6. Oh, you mean Terminator 6 featuring the LBT 1000? LGBT 1000? No, I am not at all. Will I watch it? I didn't see the Predator, so why would I see the LGBT 1000? Maybe I'll go see it to see the NPC 800 or something, fully functional and operational to tear down Skynet and Cyberdyne systems one last time. Whoa. Honestly, it just depends on what you guys want. If enough people show interest in a video talking about, hey, I'll go see Terminator if you guys want me to, I will. It's all these things are very possible. All you got to do is tell me. And if I'm looking forward to the answer, Observer Dude is no, not looking forward to it. I actually would love to watch it with Dion just to hear his response, to hear him freak out. What are they doing to Terminator? Dude, there hasn't been a good Terminator film since 1991. That's when T2 came out, right? 91? No, was it 92? I don't know years. I was so young. My point is, it's a fantastic movie. Almost a 10 out of 10. They've sucked ever since. 3, not a good film. Salvation, OBGYNs, this one, like they get worse and worse. Progressively, they get worse. I think a lot of people are going to talk about how great Halloween 2018 was to try to build up the LGBT 1000 Terminator 6 film. They're going to talk about Linda Hamilton, and they're going to make parallels to Jamie Lee Curtis because they just say the same shit over and over again. They're going to equate those films, and then people that are like, well, I really liked Halloween 2018. Well, I got to see Terminator because it's the same shit. Maybe on an ideological level, it's the same shit, but let's be honest. There are more passable Halloween films than there are good Terminator films. You have 2 great ones and 3 garbage ones. You have a great Halloween, a really good Halloween, an interesting Halloween, an okay Halloween, a bad Halloween, a terrible Halloween, a decent Halloween, a shitty Halloween, 2 garbage Halloweens, and a pretty decent one as well. So the numbers don't lie. And at Sacrifice, well, you know the rest. I don't even think Terminator 6 has a 33.3% chance because James Cameron knows that people are fed up with the Terminator properties. I'm so sorry for that one. No, I'm really not. So are there any Funko Pop collectors real quick? I just wanted to ask you guys this because I find how they've made so many of these Funko Pops. And now I'm seeing them being sold for 70 to 80% off. And it just goes to show that some of us were right. There will be a warehouse, a dumpster, a landfill full of these Funko Pops one day. So if you're a big collector of Funko Pops, more power to you. I'm not here to knock you. I'm not here to make fun of you. But I am here to say I think Funko Pops suck. And I will be happy when they are no longer popular. Because I think much like the Joker says, this town deserves a better class of criminal. This world deserves a better class of collectible. And I wish this was a lead-in for me to say, hey, buy this collectible or do this or check this out. It's not. It's just me saying to you, as a fan of all of these things, want more out of your entertainment. Don't ever feel like you owe these companies your money. They owe you good stuff for you to spend your hard-earned money on. So now, one thing I did just find out a second ago, and maybe you guys will find this interesting, maybe you won't, but if you guys have been following us for a while, we've been talking about the 20th Century Fox Disney merger. Now, I found this article, and I thought you guys might find it interesting. So it's in development Fox movies likely canceled by the Disney purchase. Now, this is a good interactive discussion to have this morning because I can read you these films, I can tell you about what's possibly canceled, and then maybe you can tell me if you're saddened by this information, if you're happy, if you don't give a shit. You're right now, I'm looking at Gambit, I'm looking at Eggsy from Kingsman, and I'm looking at Ben Affleck. I don't know what movie Ben Affleck's going to be in, but it looks like he's got his shit together in terms of his rehab. He's going to church and all this other stuff. So maybe you're not super religious, and I'm not here to promote anything. But good for Ben Affleck. Hopefully his shit is going down the right path because he's a good actor, great director. Maybe he's a good guy. I don't know. It could have been fun. Who knows? Some people, not me. But here are some of the films that are in development by Fox that are likely canceled by Disney's purchase. So I just, again, like I say in my Star Wars toy video coming up, I told you so. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, I can always see through Disney's bullshit lies. Always. Their PR spin, none of that works on me. I'm not acting like I'm some superhuman samurai cyber squad android robot thing. All I can say to you is that I don't trust them. Don't trust Disney. They're fake bullshit artists, not even world-class bullshitters. They're just weird. You listen to how people talk about their experiences working in the theme parks, how it's weird, how it's crazy, how it's cult-like. Then you talk about, the weird rules that they have at the Disney store, all these weird draconian policies, and then all the behind-the-scenes stuff that goes on. So when they tell you they're going to do something, believe they're going to do the opposite of what they tell you just because. So as the Marvel shows get canceled on Netflix, well, don't worry, guys. Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, they may be gone, but we're going to replace them with Squirrel Girl and a Spider-Gwen TV show, live action. You want a Spider-Man live action show? No, you don't. You want Spider-Gwen, the true hero. No. No, thank you, Disney. I will watch nothing instead. So let's look at some of these films. So Gambit. Now, this is a film I don't give a shit about. A romantic comedy starring Channing Tatum, or Charming Taint Man, as Gambit. Remy LeBeau, one of the coolest X-Men characters from the cartoon. Wolverine and Gambit were the two. They're like the Rock and Stone Cold of the cartoon. Some people like Triple H. Triple H is like a Cyclops. Not as good as the other two, even though I do love Cyclops' costume. Like I love Triple H's theme song. But this Gambit movie seemed like a bad idea from the start. It's not about Channing Tatum being a bad actor, because I think he's a pretty funny actor. I like 21 Jump Street. But this Gambit movie, let's stop doing separate X-Men films and let's just give us a really cool X-Men movie. I think X-Men needs a really fresh start. And it's not that I'm advocating that Disney reboot it. I really just want a non-black leather, dark filtered X-Men flick. Give me the cartoon as the movie, just straight up, with that weird, that great techno-ish theme song, all kinds of stuff. Just give us an X-Men where, they don't have to have matching costumes or this or that. Make them look like the cartoon. Bring them together. Make a Jim Lee X-Men cartoon. Let them fight Magneto, go to space, meet Forge, all this shit. Then, adapt some classic Chris Claremont stuff down the road. But let's just have some fun with it. I don't think Gambit's a good idea. X-Force. I didn't realize that they were making this film. Maybe I did. I don't care if this gets canceled. I enjoyed Deadpool 2, but for me personally, I need a break from all things Deadpool, including this PG cut that's coming out around Christmas time. I'm okay. I'll pass on this one. Okay, so this is non-X-Men films that may be canceled. Kingsman 3, if this gets canceled, I'll be pissed, because Kingsman is the best James Bond movie series out today. Kingsman and Mission Impossible are the James Bond franchise for the modern era. The James Bond franchise doesn't know what the hell it is. Even during times where Barbara Broccoli goes, well, James Bond will always be a male and all that stuff. Still, your movies don't deliver on every front. For as good as the opening to Spectre was, it was topped off by a really bad theme song. Why? Oh, Sam Smith's so great and popular. Nobody talks about him anymore. Nobody talks about Spectre either. Good choice. But the Kingsman films, I have enjoyed them. I saw the first one for free years ago, obviously, because that's when it came out. But I saw the first one at my local AMC. They gave me a movie pass, and I took my mom to see it, and we loved it. She thought it was great. It was cool to see Mark Hamill. It was a fantastic movie. And so then the guys and I went to see number 2 last year, and we loved it. Certain parts of Kingsman 2 I like more than Kingsman 1. I need to watch both films to decide which is my favorite of the two. But the country roads part, the opening with the Prince song, Elton John's line is probably one of my favorite lines I've ever heard in cinema. So just go watch the film. I don't want to ruin the joke for you. Just go watch it. But I'd be pissed if Kingsman got canceled over the Fox-Disney merger. MC Scam. Oh, McScam. I have never heard about this. Former cop Jerry Jacobson was labeled scam at the McDonald's Monopoly game. Oh, okay. Now that I know that what this is and who's involved, maybe I am kind of upset they'll never make this movie. I love real life stories that are crazy and then they get adapted into movies. The Founder wasn't a crazy story, but I thought that was a damn good film. I feel like McDonald's films, barring Mac and Me, are great. Really great. Has anyone seen Ronald McDonald's House of Horrors? You haven't because I made it up. But there was a VHS series back in the 90s that was about the McDonald's cartoon characters, and I loved those. I used to come home and watch those when I was in like the second or third grade. Oh, good times. Wow. I love how that's it. Really, it's 4 movies. Thanks, Screen Rant. You really put in the legwork. You really put in the damn legwork. I'm so proud to have used your article on the premier morning show, Good Morning Pop Culture. I just, thanks, guys. Thank you. Let's see. I can't stop baiting to gay frogs. Sent in a super chat that said, please sing Transgender Humans in Disguise. Transgenders, humans in disguise. There you go. I sang it just for you and just for you. I hope someone uses that as a ringtone. Dalton Burchett, thank you very much again. Burnt all my Rick and Morty Funko Pop collection over 15, I think, after I found out how perverted both the creators are. Now I could care less for Pops. That is your prerogative to do what you have to do. Now, I've personally never burned anything that I've owned out of a protest, but normally what I do, Dalton, is I just stop buying it. So if I found out that Mark Hamill, in fact, hated camels and he punched them at every opportunity, I'd stop buying Luke's. I've actually stopped buying. That's not a good example. What if I stop or still buy? If I found out that Jim Lee, dumped his bacon grease down the drain and clogged up all the plumbing in his house maliciously, well, then I couldn't buy another Wolverine action figure because I knew Jim Lee was just a bad guy. But no, those are the things they did, or the jokes they made, whatever, were definitely in a whole different league than dumping bacon grease down your drain. So if you guys have your own reasons why you don't support a certain creator and you stop buying their stuff, more power to you. Like I say here on this channel, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I bring you the information, give you my take on it, and we have a discussion. So if Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland's jokes and quotation marks pissed you off and you burnt your Pops, hey, you do what you do. You paid the money in the first place. That's your property. You can do what you want with it. I just think Funko Pops are too bland and generic to have any, artistic weight, creative weight. Now, full transparency, I do own some. Why? Because my mom gave them to me. So she bought me the James Bond collection and stuff like that. And like I said, no matter how militant you want to be about a collectible, you don't say no to your mom if she went out of her way to buy you a gift. So that is the one. Those are the ones I own because of her. But yeah, I'm interested. A lot of people, it's funny you talk about burning your Pops. I had a big flash in my mind. No, I'm not having a stroke. Disco. I know disco is older than most of our listeners here. I know we have some older listeners who are out there working and lurking. And, more power to you guys and ladies out there. No disrespect meant. But you remember disco differently than we do. And all I can think of are those disco burnings at the baseball stadiums where people took their disco records and just en masse got rid of them. Maybe as a joke, not even as a joke. I'd love to rent a place and have a mass Funko Pop burning. The half-price bookstores and all these places that are just clogged with these fucking stupid things. The Beanie Baby equivalent of the 2018s. Massive amounts of people drive from all over the country, and we have this huge bonfire, and you bring your Pops, and we just burn them. The funny part is I actually have access to the land to do that, where we do burn shit. Maybe down the road, we'll host a World Class Bullshitters Funko Pop bonfire. We'll give you directions, and you show up to the bonfire and bring your Pops. Like that shitty Pringles commercial. Once you pop, can't stop. The fun don't stop. Nathan Brake, thank you very much again for Super Chat. So, Jeff, do you think Marvel Comics should reboot their whole line of comics, start fresh? Nathan, they keep doing that constantly. Spider-Man has been rebooted, 4 or 5 times over the last so many years. I don't like the idea of actually rebooting and renumbering. What I used to like was when a certain era of a comic creator, either writer or artist, ended. They would usually treat, let's say it was issue 284 was the end of a specific writer's run. Well, 285 would bring in a new writer, a new artist. They would do maybe a 1 or 2 page flashback, splash page. That wouldn't work. It's not a splash page. A flashback of Spider-Man's origin or something. And then in the meantime, you create a new villain, a new threat. And so you build up that. You let the readers know who Spider-Man is, and then Spider-Man's introduced to that threat, and they fight next time on Dragon Ball Z. You get people excited for the next wave. These constant reboots and renumberings. Look, I know historically number ones sell more, and I get that the comic book industry is a business. I respect that. What I don't respect is their lack of respect for us and the constant renumberings, because it gets confusing. I have a Spider-Man collection. Once you get to issue, was it 444 or 434 or something like that, and then it goes back to number 1. And I don't know about where we go. It's like, oh shit, is this number 1 or number 445 or what? And I get confused. And then when you go to these websites to try to catalog your books, it's, oh wait, number 5, no. Spider-Man number 5 is drawn by Steve Ditko, written by Stan Lee from 1963. Oh god, no, wait, I don't have the money for that one. I want the one from the 90s. It just creates so much confusion. Too many questions, as the Riddler would say. So I think if you're talking about a reboot where they kind of wipe the slate clean of this SJW Marvel stuff, yeah, I would like to see all that stuff gone, because there are 1,000,001 creators better suited for these Marvel properties than the people they have that work there. Diversity in comics has really caused a lot of problems for these people because it's exposed their stupidity, and now they're doing dumb shit and they're going to get sued. They didn't go for the shinning, they went for the shining. It's not even the women, it's anybody, women, the men, anything in between. They're just not writing good stories. I don't care about your personal story, X, Y, and Z person, imprinted on Captain America. I don't care about your political views imprinted on Captain America. You are getting the toys, the keys to the kingdom. Take these characters and do with them what you will. But remember, if you fuck up, you fuck it up for everyone down the line. So Nick Spencer has fucked up Captain America in terms of print for a lot of people. I wasn't feeling really patriotic, but I was feeling like, man, Captain America, I'm getting the action figures. Maybe I should start reading the books again. I read the old Mike Zeck stuff. He was the artist. He wasn't the writer. But my point is, I was reading that stuff. I have the Nomad stuff. I like Captain America. He's not my favorite character in print. He may be my favorite character from the MCU, but he's not my favorite character in print. And I thought, maybe they can do something smart with today's political climate, but they can't. Instead of having Donald Trump and the Donald Trump allegory with Norman Osborn, they make Donald Trump MODOK, and they think it's so funny. And I'm not even offended or bothered, but their lack of creativity just makes me not want to buy their books more than anything. It's really, for me, the SJW shit is unreadable. I'm not going to act like I'm I'm over that and I'm trying to, change the channel. No, I find your lack of creativity disturbing. The lack of originality. You're thinking, Jeff, why don't you try to write for a 55-year-old character? Okay, I fucking will. Give me the job, and Spider-Man will do something new, different. And if you want to do callbacks and throwbacks to the past, do it with respect. Respect is the key word in all of this. Respect to your audience, respect to your characters, respect to the future, respect to the past. If these weren't even things that you had to teach the comic book creators of the past. The 80s was like the best spot for comic books. You had your more adult-oriented, really deep, creative stuff like a Watchmen. You even had Batman elevated thanks to Frank Miller, David Mazzucchelli, Lynn Varley. I'll even throw her, the colorist, in there because she made The Dark Knight Returns look really good. She's like a Marshall Lucas for Star Wars. You may see Frank Miller, Dark Knight Returns, but Lynn Varley added a level to the book that we don't really understand until you research it, much like Marshall Lucas added another level of Star Wars that we don't understand. She edited, she saved that film along with Paul Hirsch and Richard Chew. But these creators today aren't really comic book fans. They want to get into movies. They want to get into other shit. They don't really want to fucking work. So they don't really work that hard. They go in, they know the right people, they say the right shit on social media, and they get these jobs and they go to these companies and they don't do anything. You got this old man like Mark Waid who's going out there trying to fuck up people's futures by being an asshole. And all they're doing is just bringing negativity to their thing. I'm surprised these comic conventions aren't dying off quicker than they are. People, well, you know what? I hate to say this. People go to these comic conventions because it's the Funko Pop generation. It's the narcissism generation. These people go to show off their cosplays and do their shit. They don't go to support the creators. They don't go to find new comics. They just go to look at toys, collectibles, and dress up and get attention to show up on the IGN homepage. That is the current culture and climate we live in. Instead of trying to change it one person at a time, you just accept it, but you call attention to what they do and, all of these things. It's like the perfect storm of bullshit for comic books right now. And by perfect, I mean terrible. Nothing has been super amazing from Marvel. DC's put out some stuff that has garnered attention. Remember Bat Dong? That was one of the most fun episodes I've ever had for Good Morning Pop Culture. Bat Dong was fantastic. And no, I don't mean it in that way. But Bat Dong, I laughed the whole time. We had a good time. Your books should, for me, comic books should do a couple things. It should either make you laugh, inspire you, scare you, or at the very least, entertain you. And Marvel books aren't entertaining anyone. That is why Stealing Solo, a Captain's Parody, can outsell Marvel Masterworks collections of Captain Marvel and do all these things, because I've entertained people. They have faith in me, and they know what we do. We don't turn on the fans. I don't shove weird beliefs down your throat. I really don't have weird beliefs. If anyone ever met me in person and asked me what I'm interested in, really similar to what I am. And what I am on here, I am in person. Superfan Adam Shawhan knows. Jeff the Ironwolf knows. Certain people that have met me know. It's what you hear on the show is how I am in person. And, that kind of thing has worked. And it will work because I'm honest. And I don't try to, subvert your expectations and change things and make you take things you like and ruin them. If anything, I try to turn them on your ear and make you laugh. Think about them in a certain way. Why can't Spider-Man be like that? My favorite character of all time. It would be nice if Comicsgate could get me in there just to do one issue, because that is on my bucket list of things to do. Deep down, I'd rather, we're going to turn our channel into a skit show. Not turn our channel. We're going to get our own skit show. We're going to do things like that. We got all kinds of entertainment coming your way. But honestly, at the end of the day, if somebody does offer me that opportunity, I'm going to take it, because I really want to, it's not about a thing to have my name on a Spider-Man book. It's to know that I did my part to make the character better, especially in these trying times. And I'm not trying to, overblow the importance, but Spider-Man is one of the all-time great characters. All these characters, the Fantastic Four, the Hulk, all the characters are not what they should be. They're not what they are good. Sometimes you need to go back to the drawing board, look at what makes these characters work. Recognize that. Fantastic Four works best when it's the story of family. X-Men works best when it's an allegory for racism, sexism, homophobia, the AIDS scare, all that stuff. That is when X-Men works the best. But now that a lot of those things have been accomplished, meaning, the acceptance of gay people and acceptance of interracial couples and all these things have been accepted into society, they're no longer they're no longer hot button issues for hatred and bigotry. Well, then you need to evolve the character. What are other actual problems? You don't get to make up the problems of society. Don't follow the outrage culture to get attention brought to yourself. What you need to do is you need to take the X-Men, even if you just gotta fucking have them fight Magneto again over mutant rights, and make it, make another deep story or another doomsday level event. Find something to do that doesn't really make the X-Men, I don't want to say NPCs, because that seems kind of mean to say to the X-Men, but make them have some relevancy. Do a fucking House of M storyline. Do something crazy. These are comic books. Anything can be done in a comic book. If you can draw it and think it, you can put it in a comic book. And if you can't draw it that well, somebody else can. And if you need ideas, well, somebody else can help you too. Thankfully, I can write it, I can draw it, I can do it. But these people that work in the big professional fields that get flown across the country, and these, nobody really flies to kiss their ass, but these people that go to meet them and say, oh, I'm so empowered by your storyline. That's nice that 5 people came out of the woodwork to tell you, oh, well, it spoke to me because I follow you on Twitter and I like what you do. But no one else buys your book. I'm sorry. That's a really long way, Nathan, of saying that. Let's see. Nathan also said, I meant like continuity-wise. Well, where do you go? Because if you like, certain continuity lines do create new iconic moments for these characters. I would like if you could wipe the Spider-Man. The marriage thing was dumb when they wiped it out, but some of the stories that came from that were pretty good. What I didn't like was the when he became Tony Stark. I even liked when Doc Ock took over his body. I thought that was a really good. The Superior Spider-Man I thought was an excellent storyline. I bought every issue. Once it rebooted, though, I lost interest, man. That whole Marvel Now initiative just really turned me off to everything comic books. Grendel Fan 84, thank you very much. Marvel did do that, and it was the Ultimate line. They were the Great Wolf, or the first several years, and then they went off the rails with Ultimatum. Is Ultimatum the one where Toad eats Wasp, and that Magneto's kids, Quicksilver and Wanda, are banging? Because I remember when that was coming out, and I didn't buy it. I distinctly remember when that was coming out. I think Joel bought it, because Joel bought any book. But yeah, the Ultimate stuff was good for some people. I just don't know why you can't have the classic, the 616, and the Ultimate. You got to change them. Well, the Ultimate was more successful. Was it, though? Not for everything. Ultimate Iron Man, certain character elements were. The design elements come from classic Iron Man, especially the Eddie Granoff stuff, the Extremis storyline. It's funny, these movies, the successful ones are an amalgamation of so many elements that make the character great. It's funny, though, that the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, the ones that people seem to be the most nostalgic for, are the most classic in terms of the classic books, not necessarily the ultimate editions of these characters. People would say, well, Ultimate Spider-Man Doc Ock has a wife, therefore Spider-Man 2 Doc Ock is the inspiration, or is inspired by Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm like, that's pretty thin, to be honest. They give characters new relationships and stuff like that strictly to humanize them, to make them believable, to take, their tragedy and their drama, the struggle, to another level. What's going to make Doc Ock want to continue his work? The honor of his dead wife type of thing. There's a lot more that comic book fans, or there's a lot more than comic book fans understand. They try to prescribe certain things as black and white, but they don't look at it from another level. When you have to adapt something to another medium, certain things are lost, certain things are added. It doesn't make the books closer to the Ultimate for the sake of your argument. And I don't say these things because I dislike the Ultimate books to try to downplay them because of my personal preference and taste. I have read the Ultimate books. I have most of them. I have Ultimate Spider-Man #1. I bought it when it was new. That wasn't some book that I have gone back to buy because I want to collect it. I just picked it up at Media Play decades ago, almost 20 years at this point, and I lost it. You know where I lost it? Inside of another book, so it's like mint fresh, brand new, clean. I love it. I'm very happy that I own Ultimate Spider-Man #1. But I've been there from the beginning, and overall, wasn't impressed. Let's see, Alpha Tyranima, thank you very much for your super chat. How was the MCR guys Spider-Man comic? My Chemical Romance? What? Is My Chemical Romance that's not Jared Leto, is it? No, he didn't write. Was it? I don't know who wrote what. Alpha Tyranima, I don't know the issue. Like I said, if he started writing after Superior Spider-Man, I don't know. Not know. Observer Dude, thank you very much. Should they make a Logan style sequel to Spider-Man 3? I don't know if they should do a Logan style sequel to Spider-Man 3, but I do firmly stand by the belief they should do it for James Bond with Pierce Brosnan. Old Man Bond. Don't call it Old Man Bond. But James Bond's timeline is already messed up. They go in and out of continuity and stuff like that anyway. Why not an Old Man 007 flick? That'd be cool. And Pierce Brosnan really looks great for his age. One more run, and then you refresh. You don't even reboot. You just refresh with a younger Bond, and you keep telling the stories. So I don't know if that would work with Spider-Man 3. I would love to see Tobey Maguire back as Spider-Man. It won't happen, and that's okay. Some people would say it shouldn't happen. Spider-Man 3 was not a good film, but I always ask people, see, Spider-Man 3 does suck, but could you do me a favor? Could you remember Spider-Man 2 and how great that one was, and how great Spider-Man 1 was, and how it revolutionized a lot of stuff? X-Men was very important. Blade was the unsung hero that started it all, but Spider-Man really blew it up to that next level, that these movies were now the events of the year. And for a lot of people, that was the first time seeing their favorite character embodied on the big screen. And it was exciting. It was an event. You know, it was like Star Wars Episode 1 levels of hype for me. But unlike Star Wars Episode 1, I didn't leave the theater heartbroken and angry or confused and like, I don't care. I was pumped. I went back and saw it the next week. I played the game, read the books, did all the stuff. It really got me in. I think Marvel could do a lot more if they streamlined their books to be more like the movies. At least have a movie line. So there's the 616 universe for the mainline stuff. There's the Ultimate, and then you have the, I don't know, the 313 universe or some dumb shit like that. And what you do is you just make your actors look like, you know, the comic characters look like the actors. So Thor is Chris Hemsworth and all that stuff. And you can get people to buy. I just know the excitement I felt when I would go pick up a book. Because back then I didn't go to the comic book store. I went to Walden Books every Saturday or Sunday. My mom and I would go to the mall with my grandma usually. And every Saturday or Sunday, I would get a new Spider-Man comic. They were $2.25. That was the price back then. Whew, now they're $4 to $5. And the quality's not even as good. But I just remember distinctly going back there and getting those books. And then the movie was out and getting involved. And it was just an exciting time. And some would argue it's just because of the age thing. But I was 13, and at 23, I was still excited to buy comic books. It's not really an age thing. Again, it's a lot like Star Wars. We haven't changed as much. They've changed. And they, you know, they're the problem. These people, if they want to make these big changes, but it doesn't work at the end of the day. So Observer Dude, I love your concept. Maybe we could do a comic, a sequel to Spider-Man 3 as a comic. Marvel, if you're out there listening, I'm offering my services. Give me access to the original script, and we'll work something out. We'll get it forward by Sam Raimi, graphic novel. Oh my God. I will spend as many hours I need to do to draw the raised webbing on each panel. Awesome. Black Angus Reviews, thank you very much. Currently reading Spidey Reigns, stay positive for review, or stay posted for review. Oh, so you picked up Spider-Man Reign that I suggested. Cool. So folks, check out the Black Angus channel. Black Angus Reviews, excuse me. Big supporter of world-class bullshitters, the fandom menace, this community, this strong, thriving community that grows every day. We're back on the growth train, which is a nice feeling. For a while, we ran stagnant, but we're over that. And now we're on our way to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Videos that will be coming out will definitely help us get there. Gone back to all that fun stuff. So if you've ever been out there in the wild wondering, you know, where are the videos at? To be fair, they've been there the whole time. But don't worry. New, great ones are coming. And like I told you, the one today, it's a little spicy at times because I do get to say I told you so. Because we were right all along about the Star Wars stuff. People were like, well, when the sales figures come out and show that Star Wars has made so much money, you're going to have to eat crow. Son, just don't. You got to watch the video to see just how right I was at the end of all this. And I'm not trying to, you know, stroke my ego. But you'll know in about an hour. You'll know that we had our finger on the pulse. Not far from the pulse, jammed straight up our ass, offering you a chocolate-covered pretzel. We had it. We knew it all along. And it was just nice to talk about this. But at the same time, it is kind of sad to have to discuss the decline of Hasbro and their big laying off of their workforce as Star Wars toys, quite frankly, are getting better. I don't talk about this in the video, so I'll talk about it here. The toy line actually is producing some quality stuff, and people just can't get it because the other crap has been... Two things happened. The old crap from Episode 7, 8, Rogue One, and Solo really didn't get big of a release, but those movies have clogged retailers' outlets, and people can't find new stuff. And then retailers don't order new stuff because they can't get rid of the old stuff. So now they're just clearancing out Star Wars shit, reducing the shelf, and ordering less. Well, Jeff, there are no movies out. It doesn't matter. There's still a thriving Star Wars toy line. Between 2005 and 2012, when Lucas still had it, there were Star Wars toys out all the goddamn time. There were 2 different lines, 3 different lines, and people wanted shit from everything. Don't give me that. And there were games. There were more games in that period, even though that's a longer period of it's 7 years, right? And Disney's been around since 2013. This has been a 5-year gap, let's say. Either way, there was more content released back then. Well, they should be able to do that now. This is the Disney machine. There's no excuse for this. Except ignorance, stupidity, and a forced ideology that no one buys. Observer Dude, thank you very much. Yes to the return of Pierce Brosnan great. Brosnan. Hopefully one day I will. But I will tell you, I think he'll say yes. You know what? I won't say I think. I say he says yes. He's the actor to, and you're thinking to yourself, what does that mean? Sean Connery quit, came back, quit again. Quit. Couldn't wait, quit. Brosnan, fired. Daniel Craig, sadly, still here. Go watch the Everything or Nothing documentary, the story of the James Bond film franchise, and watch Pierce Brosnan talk about when he was let go as 007. It was his dream role. I mean, he was so close to greatness in 1986 when he was going to be cast as James Bond. Then he answered the phone, and it was Remington Steele. They renewed his contract. He lost out on the role of 007. Had he not answered that phone call, went to the premiere downstairs in the hotel, then came back for the news, he probably would have played Bond because it was publicly announced, and Broccoli would have paid off whatever it cost for him to play and not Dalton. So he had to wait another 9 years. Imagine that. You're about to get your dream role right at the top. You got to wait, I don't know, almost a decade. Build. He gets to GoldenEye, big hit. All of his movies are hits. Maybe you don't like them, and critically, some of them are not that big of a hit. But financially, all of his Bond films, he was called the $1 billion Bond for a reason, because he was the first Bond to have his films reach $1 billion. Now, Daniel Craig did it with Skyfall. Congratulations, Daniel Craig. But Brosnan was let go. He knew the absurdity of Die Another Day, and it was his idea to do a more grounded next installment. This would have been his For Your Eyes Only. So I believe Casino Royale was more of his thing than Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson, and he was let go. He was fired. And watch his face when he talks about that. He looks like he's going to cry. Maybe not bawl, but you can tell it bothers him. And Pierce Brosnan seems like a pretty easygoing guy. He's doing work, but he's not doing something that's that important. Given the opportunity and the right financial incentive, Pierce Brosnan would do that film. And I think that would be a nice, interesting, refreshing take on Bond. There has never been such a gap between an actor playing the role. Connery quit in 1967. He came back by 1971 for Diamonds Are Forever. Brosnan last played James Bond in 2002's Die Another Day. Let's say he comes back in 2022's whatever. It's a big gap, a 20-year gap. But if he still looks the part and he still can do it, it would be a much deeper Bond story. They want to talk about how some of these Bond movies aren't his story. They're other people's stories. Well, this would be the most intimate, personal James Bond story, because when Brosnan was James Bond, there were certain little elements that they would talk about, the loneliness, this, that, and the other. Like watch Tomorrow Never Dies when he sits in that German hotel room and he drinks and he has the gun and stuff. It's very symbolic of like the downtime. When James Bond's not off at the parties doing all the crazy stuff, this is his life. Have that and have him go on this one big mission or one more mission or his final mission, but don't kill him. It just because you kill your main character doesn't make your movie deeper. Bond is forever. Bond's like Superman. People say, well, he's not a Superman. No, but he is like that character. He doesn't die. He always comes back to fight another day, to die another day, if you will. Excuse the shitty pun. So I would prefer if he does come back one more time and to live, to do his own thing. And I bet you, if a big enough online support system for this idea swelled up, you could get him to at least talk about it. I'm not saying we can make the movie happen. That'd be great. One day this channel will be big enough to that we can. But until then, we will continue to talk about it, longingly. To me, it's the greatest James Bond movie never made, not the one that takes place in China. Mariner 1712, thank you very much. Star Trek was doing better financially in terms of games when Activision still had the license. ENT wasn't the death knell, it was a symptom. I have never owned a Star Trek game, so full transparency there. But I had seen a lot of them played. Joel owned them. It's kind of weird how when there's nothing to keep, when the fans are the ones keeping the brands alive, the brands do well. Maybe they don't get the entertainment media exposure, and maybe they don't get that big windfall at the box office all the time, but the shit's still making bank. I think, now this is just a memory I'm trying to recall, but in an off year of a Spider-Man movie, I recall, can't validate this, so just take it as maybe a false memory, but I remember hearing something about how the Spider-Man franchise made $900 million in like 2003 or something when there was no movie out. We're going off the tail of Spider-Man, and then we're the hype for number 2, the toys, the comics, the games, all that stuff is making bank. Sometimes you don't need the big movies to do that. So that was the case with Star Wars, and maybe it was the case with Star Trek. I can never tell you guys. I'll never try to put myself up there as an expert on Star Trek. I like the original show, the cartoons for what it is. Captain Kirk's my shit. I can't call myself an anti-Star Trek fan, but I can't call myself a dedicated diehard one like I still kind of am with Star Wars. I don't know it. So if you guys ever want to bring that information to me, I'll gladly talk about it. But just if I ever answer something and you don't feel like I've gone in as in depth as you'd like, I apologize in advance because I just don't do Star Trek the way a lot of people do. But I don't dislike it either. American Trent 007, original Trilogy Collection, Revenge of the Sith, Saga, 30th Legacy, Vintage Collection lines were great. They were, Trent. As a fellow toy collector, I understand what you're talking about. For those out there, folks, from about 04 to 2012, 2009-ish, actually. 12, we'll say 12. They had different lines of Star Wars figures. Some of them were slightly more expensive, within the margin of $1 or $2, not much. But they were all good, articulated, detailed figures. Some were great, some were okay. And they would take the older figures, repackage them, pump them out. Nowadays, they've gone back and they've resculpted all of them cheaper, and then they pump them out and people don't buy them. So they kind of stopped, and now they're going back to the older. It's a really confusing time. It's like you were going down the right path for so long, and then you made one or two fuck ups, and then you're still trying to fix those fuck ups, but you keep fucking it up worse. So excuse the shitty analogy, but that's what I was trying to say based off Trent's super chat. It doesn't get they don't get it right anymore, and it's by choice. By Disney's choice. Like I told you in that video, Disney has the license. They hold the power. They determine what gets made more so than you realize. So Hasbro, when their licensing fee goes up a lot, hundreds of millions of dollars more than it was, they have to cut corners. So you feel sympathy for the company, but at the same time, you're letting down a collector base, a fan base that has kept you alive for all these years because of the fact that you produce a stellar quality product and you keep re-releasing stuff we want. If Hasbro wants to get out of the red and into the black with Star Wars, just go release boxes of Stormtroopers. You'll never see a Stormtrooper at retail peg warm, ever. People want waves and armies of Stormtroopers. You never see Han Solo, the Harrison Ford one, peg warm. You never see Luke, not Jake Skywalker, peg warm. It's all about choices, folks. And Hasbro has made the wrong ones, but Disney has made even worse. Party Elm City, thank you very much. John Williams better not die yet. My heart can't take it. He needs to do one more really good score after being made to do all these sequel ones. Yeah, Party Elm City. I don't want John Williams to die. I know he's old. He was 86, I said earlier in the show. I get it. Age, stuff like that, shit happens. I'm not trying to just discredit that. It will happen. We'll all be sad, but it will happen. But yeah, he does. I hope that, I'll admit if the episode 9 score's fantastic. I'm not trying. When I tell you guys I dislike something, I'm not trying to just get you riled up to get you to click on the videos. I mean it. I was just, Halloween just wasn't what I wanted it to be. These movies, sometimes I'm disappointed by them. And that's my honest to God opinion, not what do I think the listeners want to hear. And when I rant about shit, I mean it too. That Melissa McCarthy stuff pissed me off. Show respect to your franchises. Don't make excuses. But I hope episode 9 scores fantastic. I want it to be the best of his career. That's what I want. I don't want to have to constantly say, oh, it was good, but it wasn't as good as the first Star Wars. I want to be blown away. Why? Because we all win when something's great. We all win. Oh, that meal I had at this restaurant 10 years ago was fantastic. I want the next one to be better so I can say, yeah, that was great. But this one was even better. Always want everything to be better. Episode or issue 176 of Spider-Man was great. I want episode 100 or issue 177 be that much better. That's how I operate with John Williams. So John Williams, get better and make the best of all time. GrendelFan84, thank you very much for your super chat. I highly encourage you to check out James Bond Year 1 story by Dynamite Comics right now. It's incredibly faithful to his World War II origins. I'm going to have to check that out now, Grendel fan. Maybe I can get a copy from Comics Elite. I'll buy one. I know they do their online sales all the time. So, folks, if you are a comic book collector and you'd like to find some stuff, go to Comics Elite. This isn't a paid sponsorship. This isn't a plug. They are a genuinely good company with a lot of good variant covers and stuff like that. And they have a really helpful staff. of people who can find books for you. That's really important to me. That's why I go to Rock and Rooster Comics here in Cincinnati. Dave, Rick, John, the gentleman Brian Callahan no longer works there, but the people that have worked there historically have been very helpful, good people. And I think that's what you need in a comic book store to thrive today. When the comics aren't that good, there are few and far between quality books, but if you have a group of good people working behind the counter, they will help you. They will build a community, and you will go to that store more times than not. Even if you buy 1 or 2 books, it still gets you into the store to buy 1 or 2 books. Consistency and a good sales staff can make that happen. So Comics Elite has that. I've met the owner, nice guy. Grendel fan, great guy. Do me a favor. If you're looking for comics and stuff, go through them. Unless you have a local comic book store that you're already attached to. And if they don't have your stuff, go to Comics Elite. They're going to have a lot of stuff. American Trent 007 is back again. The Bond role for Brosnan was the dream of his deceased first wife, who never saw him play the role. An article about his life shows how much he cared. So, yeah. Oh God, I can remember her character's name. Is her real name Cassandra something? She played Countess Liesel in For Your Eyes Only. So, folks, if you ever want to know, Pierce Brosnan's first wife was in For Your Eyes Only. She was a Bond girl. She got killed on the beach, and she died of cancer years later. So Pierce Brosnan's life was kind of tragic. And then he got remarried years down the road. But I didn't realize that it was the dream of his first wife that had passed away. Trent, send me that article. I want to read that for the hell of it. And maybe we'll talk about it on Good Morning Pop Culture on Monday. Prince de Talleyrand says, have you seen The November Man? It's pretty close to elderly Bond idea that you have, and it stars Brosnan. I've heard of the film. I have not seen it. I think it was on Netflix. It was in my queue for a while, then it went away. I do need to watch it, though. If it's close in concept, cool, but just something about Bond. It's got to be like the official thing. It's got to have the theme. It's got to have all that. If it has all those elements plus that, the James Bond style to it, I'd like it. Plus, doesn't he have a beard in November Man? No, that's that movie with Jackie Chan, The Foreigner. Haven't seen that either. Wanted to see it in theaters, didn't get a chance. If you saw The Foreigner, tell me how it is. I'm curious to know. Grendel Fan 84, thank you very much again. We have awesome exclusive covers coming. Well, I'm a member of your Facebook group, so I'll see what you guys got coming up soon. And I don't know. I may need to order some. Well, folks, so concludes another episode of Good Morning Pop Culture. Tonight, I will be back with World Class Bullshitters episode 146. So make sure you watch to find out what that film that is worse than The Last Jedi truly is. You got to hear Dion, Kendo, and Nick's response as well. We're actually taking notes and doing research so we can lay out for you in crystal clear detail just how bad this film truly is. So we're not just kind of leading you on. No, the build is worth the payoff. WrestleMania 17, they started that build in 1997. And the pay-per-view, that was in 2001. That Rock Stone Cold feud never really ended, but it all built towards WrestleMania 17, the greatest WrestleMania of all time. So if you understand that wrestling reference, you understand the importance of a good build. And tonight's show definitely has that, a build. Normally we say, hey, check us out. Oh, I'll see what they're streaming about. No, tonight is the one you can't miss. Tonight is the one that you need to see. You need to hear. Because it may be the greatest show we ever do. It may be our last show if Dion goes off the rails again, like he did with his Rock thing. So be back tonight. It'll be the most fun you could possibly have on a Thursday night. And then come back tomorrow for Good Morning Pop Culture. And remember, folks, the countdown is on until we move to our own channel. So Good Morning Pop Culture, November 5th, 2018, moves to its own Good Morning Pop Culture channel. So make sure you're subscribed to there because we want to do the same numbers we do here. Only reason we're moving there is because of the YouTube algorithm kind of pushes us back because we put out long-form videos. So I would like to get back to the growth of World Class Bullshitters earlier in the year, which is possible. We put out the same quality content. And I want to keep giving you guys this show because you learn about the listeners every day. I learn about the listeners every day. There's a community. People are now friends over on our Facebook page. People are now real-life friends. We have Black Angus Reviews, the Rookie Critic, and Jeff the Iron Wolf, who do their own YouTube videos. And they all, I believe, met through World Class Bullshitters. So that is why this show has to exist to keep building up the community and letting us have fun as a group of people who love entertainment, who want to keep entertainment good, not pure. Who gets to decide what pure is? I don't know who gets to decide. Who watches The Watchmen? But let me tell you this. Who watches this show? The best people out there. So thank you for another fantastic morning. I had a great time. I'm going to get to work on some other stuff so you guys have more and more content to watch every single day on this channel. So until next time, see ya.